Secretary of State Marco Rubio revealed during a cabinet meeting that the Biden administration State Department kept dossiers on Americans accused of serving as vectors of disinformation, including a file on an unidentified Trump administration official. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans, Rubio said during yesterday's cabinet meeting with our president. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. J.D. Vance interjected, asking, was it me or Elon Musk? We can follow up when the media is gone. Drawing laughter from the cabinet, Rubio continued, we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. Elon received a round of applause from President Donald Trump's cabinet as he prepares for a planned exit from his role in Doge. You have been treated unfairly, Trump said to Musk yesterday, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you. And this whole room can say that very strongly. You opened up a lot of eyes as to what could be done, and we want to thank you very much. You're invited to stay as long as you want, Trump said, as applause broke out in the room for Musk. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars and his family, he said. Days after the third Jeffrey Epstein abuse accuser to die in recent years took her own life, her family shared an excerpt from a heartbreaking journal entry Virginia Giuffre left behind. In the portion of the note shared by Giuffre's family, she encouraged other abuse victims to stand together and continue to fight. Our quote of the day, nothing great is ever achieved without enduring much, St. Catherine of Siena. And coming up, our saint of the day, you're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the King Dude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all three spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the King Dude offers you his personal money-back guarantee of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a King Dude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
Oh man, May is so boring. I wonder if there's anything on the radio here.
On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will launch a broadcast contest unlike any other in history, and you'll see why May 2025 won't be just another May.
Our saints of the day are Saints Philip and James. Philip came from the same town as Peter and Andrew, Bethsaida in Galilee. Jesus called him directly. He sought out Nathanael and told him of the one whom Moses wrote. Like the other apostles, Philip took a long time coming to realize who Jesus was. On one occasion, when Jesus saw the great multitude following him and wanted to give them food, he asked Philip where they should buy bread for the people. And St. John says Jesus said this to test him because he himself knew what he was going to do. Meanwhile, James was the son of Alphaeus, and we really know nothing of this man except his name, and of course the fact that Jesus chose him to be one of the 12 pillars of the new Israel, his church. He is not to be confused with the James of Acts, son of Clopas, brother of Jesus, and later bishop of Jerusalem, and the traditional author of the letter of James. James, the son of Alphaeus, is also known as James the Lesser, to avoid confusing him with James the son of Zebedee, also an apostle, and known as James the Greater. A new study suggests that regular drinking of champagne and or white wine could lower your risk of sudden cardiac arrest, which is SCA, a serious condition that claims the lives of over 436,000 Americans every year. The study, which was published in the Canadian Journal of Cardiology, identified 56 modifiable risk factors for SCA. Researchers suggest that 40 to 63% of cases of sudden cardiac arrest could be preventing by changing a few factors. And apart from drinking champagne and white wine, some other factors that have protective benefits are eating more fruit, maintaining a healthy BMI, staying upbeat, and being well educated. But what really does you in is high blood pressure, poor sleep, sedentary behavior, smoking, and excess fat. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
Attention coffee lovers! The Founders Trading Post has done it again! We've actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffees. Try the new Guatemala Le Eterna roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at shop.mychurch.com. like we just had our glitch for this mission. We just lost the moon. Just when you think you had everything under control, some stupid timed radio element didn't get adjusted, but it's okay. Ladies and gents, welcome. We are here live, Mike Church Show at 6 a.m. Having returned, asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you. And I got to get this this whole opening segment thing down here. So we're glad to be back. Call-in line, telephone number 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE, email address same as it ever hath been. I'm King Dude at protonmail.com. I am King Dude at protonmail.com. And of course, it wouldn't be the same without the Emperor chiming in.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
No, you can't.
For a safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them in the law.
No, you're not.
Fall down the thunder will now you got. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
All right. Yeah, the automation was messed up because it was set for 11 a.m. and some dummy forgot to change it. But all is well. We should actually do an Apollo 13 countdown clock and make sure all the other systems are a go.
Apollo 13 flight controllers, listen up. Give me a go, no go for launch. Booster.
Go.
Retro.
Go.
Vital.
We're go flight.
Guidance.
Guidance, go.
Surgeon.
Go flight.
Ecom.
We're go flight.
GNC.
We're go.
Telmute.
Go.
Control.
Go flight.
Procedures.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
FAO.
We are go.
Network.
Go.
Recovery.
Go.
Capcom.
We're go flight.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Okay, one final little piece of automation there that had to be patched up, and you should be good to go now. So now we can proceed with the program. Call in line, telephone number 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address same as it ever has been. I am King Dude at protonmail.com. It actually got used today twice. Crusader Stadium chat room open at crusadechannel.com/chat. We're live on the Crusade Radio Network, on the Twada. Did you get Rumble up? On the Rumble, on the YouTube, should be good to go on the radio end. And again, just when you have all these boxes to tick and you only have one day to do it, plus this Win a Pound of Gold contest has been consuming 16, 17 hours a day for the last 6 weeks. So, forgive me for not getting all the ducks in a row. We should be good to go now, though. I think we're all hunky dory. All systems are a go. Good to be back. We were receiving messages of people claiming that they have been walking around. What was it? Like a walking zombie. Walking zombies no more. Today's a great day. I didn't even think about this until this morning when Maggie said, and I went, coincidence? We flipped the program back on to Morning Drive on the feast of St. Joseph the Worker, which is May the 1st today. We are loaded literally for Weak Tea Sucking Commie today. I have the annual, this is probably the 5th year now that I played Father Henderson's. I played the first 10 or 11 minutes of Father Henderson of his talk, his sermon on St. Joseph the Worker, and the history of how the Illuminati. Now, why did the Illuminati choose May the 1st to start their revolution? Well, and he explains the whole thing just so brilliantly. You know, and I was remembering that last year, or was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. On May the 2nd, I had called Father Henderson on around April the 29th because I wanted to try to get him on the program, and he called me back, and I talked to him on May the 2nd. We had a long conversation, like an hour. And I said, well, maybe next year, Father. And he said, well, Mike, I think that I'm doing really good by people not knowing where I am or even that I am. I tend to get in trouble when I do. He goes, if you ask me, because I'm a humble man, I'm not going to say no. So don't ask me. And I said, yes, Father, I won't ask you. So that was my conversation with Father Henderson. I look forward to playing that bit every year and reminding all of my conservative bros out there that the fight against communism has not ended. The Chinese communists are as ascendant and as powerful and larger than the Russian Red Bear, the Soviet Union ever was. You know, we tend to think because of the free trade and the tchotchkes and the $9 Barbies that we get, that the Chinese friend. No, Chinese not friend. Chinese enemy. Now, not the people of China, China. Although, if you ever make the mistake of watching that documentary, what's it called? One Baby Nation? One Child Nation. If you ever make the mistake, you won't make it through the whole thing. It's 3 hours long. You won't get to the second hour because your human heart can't take it. You can't believe that people can actually be brainwashed and convinced that humanity is the problem with the earth and that lesser people and only certain chosen people equals paradise on earth. And the Chinese people can form their mind to it, and it's so tragic, just gut-wrenching to watch that film, One Child Nation. So don't do it. We got so much going on here today. Of course, tomorrow we launch to win a pound of gold. And we're still finding people go like, yeah, right, sure, someone's giving a pound of gold away. No, really? Yeah, well, I'll believe it. Really? And we'll talk about it and roll the whole thing out in great fanfare and detail. Andy Scheckman will join us tomorrow. He's the sponsor, one of the sponsors of the contest. Looking forward to that. We got lots of great things in store for you people with this. The Crusader Stadium chat room is open, of course, at crusadechannel.com/chat. Yesterday, we broadcast during the old time. You know, it's almost like an anachronism now to say, yeah, the old station in the old country. Oh, you mean afternoons? Yes, afternoons. We actually broadcast some, what may have been the greatest cabinet meeting since George Washington's first cabinet meeting in the history of cabinet meetings yesterday. And we got a little Bobby Kennedy in there. We did not hear Marco Rubio. Didn't hear from several of the secretaries that we will hear from today. And there was one particular exchange that I thought was probably the most interesting. We heard the tail end of it, but we didn't hear the beginning of what J.D. Vance said, and I think that when you hear it, I think it'll help put everything into perspective. And then just kind of thinking about that out loud and about so the Emperor soundbite that I played. In order to ensure the continuing stability, the Republic must be reorganized into the first galactic empire. That actually happened over the course of about 100 years. The Biden regime, as we are learning, was an actual evil, Dark Lord regime. The Republic was reorganized. It did become some kind of first galactic empire, but it was an empire of sin. It was an empire of pederasty. It was an empire of impiety. It was an empire, you sit on a throne of lies. You smell like beef and cheese. You're no Santa, and he was no president. I think the most shocking thing was said yesterday by RFK Jr., and I said it during if you heard the replay this morning, the hour 1 replay, or the hour 2 replay. No, was it the last? No, it was the second hour replay. If you heard it then, you would have heard me shout from the background, are you people listening? Did you hear this? RFK Jr. said that the Department of Homeland Insecurity of Health and Inhuman Disservices, HHS, was, what did he say? The flashpoint, the organizing vector is what he said for child slavery and sex trafficking in the United States. It's true. There are principal vector, he said. There are 300,000 missing little children in the United States. 300,000. You know, the Democrats are all out there whining into their weak tea and in front of television cameras. You deported this mom and she had to get this kid had to get on a deportation. Without ever saying a word, well, how did the illegal alien criminal trespassing wench get here? Oh, that's right. She was flown in with her children on the CBP One app by the Biden regime. Either that or she just willy-nilly just walked right across the border. Custom and Border Patrol, ICE staring right at her going, hey, have a nice day, ma'am. What happened during the Biden regime, we're slowly now discovering. Marco Rubio said that there was a dossier. If you were on the list of 12 infamous people that were named by Peppermint Zaki at the start of the mandatory jab jihad in January or February of 2022, or maybe it was 2021, if you were on the list of 12 disinformers, RFK Jr. was on the list, and Rubio said there were people, didn't he? He said there were people in this room that were on this watch list that were being spied on by the State Department. They each had spies assigned to them to keep tabs on them. The more you find out about what the Bidens were doing, what Kamala Harris and the rest of them were doing, while they were out there just lying through their teeth about the competence and the mental acuity of Joseph Robinette Biden, I think it's a good question. I think President Trump kind of dropped that on what's the moron? On Terry Moron of ABC News. He kind of dropped that's a freebie right in his lap. He goes, why aren't you looking into that? They were using the auto pen. Who was using the auto pen? Who? It wasn't Biden. Biden didn't know what he was doing. So, why don't you look into that, Terry? Why don't you look into it? Trump was dropping a news item there. They are discovering that Joe Biden was not running the White House. He was not running the executive branch. And if he wasn't, who was? If Biden wasn't in charge, and he was mentally incapable of doing so, if he wasn't saying yes to the executive orders that were signed in his name with the auto pen, who signs the bill that they're going to be looking at for 100 years? Who signs the bill with an auto pen? Huh? I signed mine because I want people to know that I signed it. He dropped that bomb. That's a news bombshell right into the lap of media lapdog Terry Moron of ABC News. Is ABC News going to follow up on that? I mean, I think that a full-scale going back listening to the entirety of that cabinet meeting that they broadcast yesterday is probably worth it, because there were so many things we're saying. We're going to cover a lot of it here on St. Joseph the Worker Day, welcoming all of you back here to the Mike Church on the Crusade Radio Network at our morning drive time. A couple of times this morning, as things were beginning to fall back into place, Mag and I were saying to it, we are so back. There's a different energy in the morning. When you do a show in midday, and you got up pretty much the same time, you don't have the same amount of energy that you have when you're doing it at the crack of 6, the crack of 5, as the case may be. So it is great to be back. What else are we going to talk about here today? Well, let's do this one. Let's talk about this. And of course, St. Joseph the Worker will be mixing that in all day long. How is it that the Western world has institutionalized mental illness? Christopher Rufo has a piece at the City Journal called the Cluster B Society. What I think we should call this society is the Cluster Society. If you didn't catch that, yes, I actually said it and I bleeped it out. The Cluster Society. Because it is a cluster F. How did that happen? I think this is one of the things that actually did happen by design. I think that they intended for people to become screwed up in the head. I think that they actually, and they're successful at this, I think that they intended to create the planet, the human civilization, the human race's greatest drug-addicted culture and population ever. It doesn't matter what you watch. Last night I was looking for some new TV show to watch, and I don't know how I had not seen this one before, and I stumbled on a show from 2018 called The Colony. You know who's in it, Maggie? You actually probably would like this. Of course, you don't like Laurie from The Walking Dead. You were glad when they killed her off after she had what was a baby? What's the baby's name? The girl. Oh gosh, not Juliet. What the hell is her name? In any event, Sarah Wayne Callie, I think is her name. She's in it, and then your boy from Lost, Sawyer, is the lead character. In any event, I'm watching the first episode of The Colony, and it's on Roku, and I got to watch commercials. Only 1%. I didn't have to watch a pharmaceutical. I almost threw a party last night. Literally, I was dancing a jig around my chair Because, well, if I got to sit through a commercial, I usually just hit mute and walk away for 90 seconds of, bombard your liver or your spleen or your pancreas with this. And, the side effect is your spleen may fall out of your rectum. You may have suicidal tendencies. You may have murderous tendencies. You're probably going to take 15 years off your life expectancy. We really don't know. But hey, you're not going to have any flaky skin or anything of the sort, and your left leg is not going to twitch anymore. They actually have a daily pharmaceutical to stop your left leg from twitching. I'm not making it up. But it was refreshing to have to watch television commercials that were actually like, I don't mind watching a Geico caveman commercial. I'll probably sit there and go like, I wonder what the punchline's going to be. But getting back to the cluster society, this was all done intentionally, and these people, they got away with it. I think that it is the mission now of the Trump administration to see to it that some of them are brought to justice, and that what they got away with, they don't get away with anymore, which is why I said a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say it again today, I don't cheer when they say that they're moving a German pharmaceutical manufacturing joint from Berlin to South Carolina. I'd rather say that, well, maybe the people that are hooked on that German or that Kraut-based pharmaceutical, maybe they need to be weaned off the stuff. How many people, Sierra Dante, artist Sierra Dante said when she started her morning, like, since you guys moved on, I've been walking around like a zombie in mornings. Well, hopefully you're not walking around like a zombie. How many of your friends, though, Sierra, are walking around like zombies? They're zombinated, they're zombified, zombinate, and cannot function if they don't have the pill bottle. I'll tell you a story when we come back about that, and we got a lot to get into. I want to talk about is MAGA the actual conservatism we were talking about 10, 15, 20 years ago when we said, can you tell me what it is that you're trying to conserve, Mr. Conservative Politician? Hold that thought. We'll be back. You don't have to wake up at midnight and 3 a.m. to live like a brother at an Abbey when you start your day with Abbey Roast coffee, now in 6 blends. Take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for Abbey Roast today at shop.mikechurch.com. Hey folks, did you know that the word watch, as in wristwatch, originates from the Old English word watcha, meaning watchfulness, and was initially used to describe keeping a lookout or being alert? Well, I know 2 guys who keep a lookout for the highest quality watch movements, bands, and then apply their own love for liberty and the Second Amendment to the design of the faces, and bammo, you have the 2A Liberty Watch Company. My friends George and Josh design watches that are sharp, functional, and inspire. I wear my 2A 4547 POTUS watch every day, and you'll love yours too. Shop their entire line today at 2awatchcompany.com. Use the code CHURCH for 10%.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, May the 1st, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow was up at close 0.35%, the S&P 0.15%, NASDAQ had dropped slightly 0.09%. Today is National Day of Prayer, always held the first Thursday in May. Designated by the United States Congress, it asks people to turn to God in prayer and meditation. It's also National Silver Star Service Banner Day. We celebrate Silver Star Service Banner Day on May the 1st in recognition for the sacrifices of American service members, those that have been made for our country. To remember service members who have been wounded in combat, are sick, and those who are dying. It's National Law Day and School Principals Day, and it's May Day. Our quote of the day: Nothing great is ever achieved without enduring much. St. Catherine of Siena. Our saints of the day are Saints Philip and James. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. Hey, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans, we recognize that you have choices to make. Choices in what to listen to, choices in what to watch, and in what you wear. Choose the new Mike Church Show Neon Microphone t-shirt. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton tees, the logo's so cool. Even if your friends don't know who the King Dude is, they'll want one anyway. Available in sizes medium through Lizzo-sized 3X. Order today at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Mike Church Show wanted to choose a special term for the loyal and erudite members of our audience. But dude was already taken.
Dude.
So we picked Veritas instead. Hey, Cosgrove, Veritas meets to solve the world's problems every morning with a King Dude. Will you be there?
It's a deal.
The Mike Church Show, heard exclusively on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
The fastest 3 hours in all of radio and media. The Mike Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network, returning now to where we have been plying this craft for the last 15 years. Morning drive here on the Crusade Radio Network. Glad to have you with us out there, wherever you may find yourself. Crusader Stadium chat room is open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Got a few of the little pieces of automation. I just had to sort another one out during the timeout, but it's all coming together. It's like an episode of the A-Team. I love it when a plan comes together, and the plan's coming together here on St. Joseph the Worker Day, May the 1st, 2025. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at MyPillow.com/King Dude. That's MyPillow.com/King Dude. If you're looking for an energy drink or a type of energy drink, try the new Rev 7. That's REV7 from our friends at MyPillow.com/King Dude. You place an order for pretty much anything. And remember, you get your order up to $75. Shipping is free. But place an order for partner anything at MyPillow.com, and you can add a 3-pack sampler of the Rev 7 energy drink and give it a try. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Maggie liked the cool green apple. I had the lemon, and we have one more left. We'll sample that one today. So check it out today. The Percali sheets are still on sale. The twin sizes and up, starting at $25 and in 12 different colors. So shop with MyPillow.com. Don't forget the pillow, the MyPillow, the classic MyPillow. Get you 1 or 12 for your entire house today at MyPillow.com/King Dude. Okay, so I left you with the conservative question at the end of the last segment. By the way, there was almost a brawl on the Clinton News Network last night, as the now aggrieved Latino population got into it with the previously centuries-long aggrieved black population over who has the greatest claim to grievance. You're acting on you had nothing on us just because you were brought over here on slave ships. So what? My ancestors had to sneak across the border and swim the Rio Grande. And the guy goes, so they voluntarily came here, and you're comparing that to Kunta Kinte being dragged by his feet and thrown onto a Spanish galleon. Okay, got it. So the left-tard left, because it can't go anywhere from where it is other than down. There's no place for them to go other than literally to hell. And I'm not being facetious, and that's not I'm not trying to make a word salad here, or that's not I'm not trying to make an analogy. Literally, a campaign is on to see which of the political class can make it to hell the fastest. Yeah, well, you just want to kill babies in the womb. We're going to let them escape. Now we're going to cut their nuts off when they're 12. Yeah, top that. Okay, you want to top that? All right. We're going to cut little girls' breasts off when they're 9 before they can even start growing. We're going to cut the glands out so they can't grow. How you like that? How you like me now? Yeah, that just happened. Mic drop. It is literally now in the United States a competition to see who can make their populations suffer the most. The battle of the oppressed. No, it's the battle. It's not the battle of the oppressed, Maggie. It's the battle of the oppressors. Oh yeah, well, I'm a bigger tyrant than you. J.B. Pritzker, he's got nothing on me. Wait till you see what I'm going to do to the people that are stupid enough to stay in Colorado. There is a piece at the, I talked about a City Journal piece, at the Wall Street Journal today, and I started reading it early this morning, and I read most of it, and I'm going like, okay, this guy gets it, and he's making the point. What the MAGA movement is ultimately, I think, and I think that this column gets it pretty much right. What the MAGA movement pretty much is not everything, though. And see, this is where people jump off and they go, like, yeah, well, they still, what about the Israel stuff? What are you going to do? Somehow, this will have to play itself out, and I don't know. This may be something that only a divine act can bring to an end. The American Zionist infatuation with all things State of Israel. I see it. I know it. Some of you people think I ignore it. I don't ignore it. I just throw my hands up and go like, well, what are you going to do about it? You know, what are you going to do? Leaving that one aside here, what is as far as the old school, when I used to ask the question, can you tell me what it is that you're, Mr. Conservative or Mr. Conservative, can you tell me what it is that you're actually trying to conserve? And, of course, it was a rhetorical question because I was talking to people that weren't there. I have said, and I'll say it again, that there is no conservatism that does not pass through the history of Christianity. And specifically, and I made sure I wore my St. Augustine medal here today because he is my confirmation and my patron saint. So I'm always thinking and I'm always musing to St. Augustine. St. Augustine, what would you do? St. Augustine, what would you think about this? Because St. Augustine was one of the geniuses, if not one of like the top 5 geniuses in the history of the Christian era or since Christ's ascension here. And so I think about, and I've read a lot of Augustine, and I'm still reading a lot of Augustine. You can't go wrong reading St. Augustine. But thinking about that conservatism, that there is no conservatism that is not rooted in Christian, let's say Catholic, tradition. Now, I know that they rob saying, yeah, well, what are you knocking the Protestants out? The evangelicals can't. No, that's not. The root of it is Catholic. That's not deniable. It's not even worth debating. So why don't we not have the debate? Now, it has obviously, since the Deformation, it's not a Reformation, it's the Deformation, since the Deformation, it has obviously split. I think that the great project for man today is, and on a great feast day, like the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker, what a great day to talk about this. Why do we want to be in these camps? You can still have your diversity, and we can still all be one big, we can still sing high school musical theme song. We're all in this together. Why do people want to remain bifurcated, divided? Why do you? Because it's a divergent. There is no diversity in the Holy Trinity. Either is or it isn't. I say that it is. What do you say? There's no diversity in that. You get Father, Son, Holy Ghost. That's all you get. The point being, the conservative project ought to recognize what I just said. It's not about politics. Men that are politicians will be better politicians if they acknowledge the traditions of Christianity. Does that make sense to everyone? And that really is literally what I think it boils down to. Is there a possibility or is there a movement here on this continent and on this assemblage of a union of states to bring some of that about? I believe that there is. Now, it's not unified, and there is certainly, I don't know that there's a leader, but I think that you could say that the early, as we used to say in horse racing parlance, in the parlance of our times, Mr. Lebowski, there is a leader in the clubhouse. His name is Donald Trump. You can't say that Trump is a conservative. Yeah, dude, I didn't say that he was Constantine. I think there's a possibility he could become a Constantine, but he's not. He's the leader in the clubhouse. The leader in the club, that's actually a golfing term. The leader in the clubhouse can lose. If you're in a golf tournament and you get to the clubhouse because you started early in the day and you're at -6 strokes for the tournament, and there's still guys out there that are on the course that are -5, you're the leader in the clubhouse. Some guy could have a great back nine and go -5 on the back nine and come in at -10. Now he's the new leader in the clubhouse. So everyone understand it. Trump is the leader in the clubhouse. I think the first stage of this is acknowledge this. Conservatism needed a Trump reset by Carl Zinsmeister. Try and say that fast. Zinsmeister! Carl Zinsmeister. Like many conservatives, I've spent my life as an advocate of unforced societal evolution rather than radical change. Yet in recent years, I find myself in unexpected territory. Washington has become a depressing mix of failure and left-wing liberalism. Governments have imposed new cultural dictates that encroach on freedoms of conscience, speech, and action. These trends shrivel the conservative instinct to guard and temper. There is no appeal in conserving dysfunctional institutions. I think that's the line right there. Do you have a highlighter? I don't have a highlighter. I don't highlight this line. I think this one is worth merci. Madame. A little French there for you. There you go. Everybody read that at home watching. There is no appeal in conserving dysfunctional institutions. Well, almost all of them are dysfunctional. So I heard someone squawking, yeah. I know who it was. I watch The Five every now and then because I like the characters. I like Greg Gutfeld. I like Jesse Waters. Who doesn't like Judge Jeanine? I even, every once in a while, I think that Harold Ford Jr. is okay. I don't have any use for Jessica Tarloff, but she is a good foil, and she plays a really good dummy. And she's really, really good at being the really good dummy. And then there is Dana Perino, and they're all kind of likable characters here, but it's just, look, I don't take this stuff seriously. That's the difference between me and most people. I watch it because it's entertainment. I know what it is. They bake a program. But in the course of that show, Jessica Tarloff said something yesterday. She said, well, let me tell you what's going to happen here. There are a couple of Republicans out there that are talking about reforming Medicaid. And let me tell you what's going to happen. They are in the swing district where there's lots of Medicaid recipients. And if they do this and they cut Medicaid benefits, well, you know what? Those Medicaid people are going to go out to the polls and they're going to vote for Democrats who are going to restore the Medicaid. And we're going to have big government, big state. So Republicans are making a stupid mistake because they're stupid and they're going to lose. And that's my prediction. You're going to lose. So take that, Greg Gutfeld. You're going to lose because your stupid Republican buddies are going to cut Medicaid. And I'm watching this going like, this dummy. Medicaid is a dysfunctional, extraordinarily crooked institution. It ought to be abolished. If your state can't figure out a way to care for the poor among them, in the state of Louisiana, for example, if we can't figure out a way to care for our earned poor, then we shouldn't be a state. We should pack the whole damn thing in, have conventions, secede, start new regions, make new states, and then have another go at it. The very implication that somehow every state and every poor person in the United States need this giant red, white, and blue sugar daddy called Uncle Sam is what needs to be executed. It needs to be put in an electric chair, and it needs to be fried until it's dead. And that's what I got out of it. Yeah, when they're going to use the Medicaid, you're going to lose. Well, you know, if people are addicted to the sugar daddy that is Uncle Sam, they need to go cold turkey. I don't think you slide anyone into this. I think you cut them off. I think you end this monstrosity and you return it if a state wants to do it. Imagine having states, why are you leaving, for example, let's say it's Florida. Why are you leaving? You couldn't wait to get to Florida. Why are you leaving Florida? Because they cut their government subsidy medical program. So you moved to Florida so you could fleece Florida's taxpayers to pay for your medical care. Okay, got it. You know that the United States spends 23.4% of every dollar made is spent on medical services. The rest of the world is in single digits. Let me repeat that. The United States of America spends 24.3% of every dollar made on medical services, whether it's medical care, pharmaceuticals, whatever the case may be. 24, almost 25%. Let's just call it a quarter. The global average of a Western-style nation is single digits. I think the high water mark is like one of the Nordic countries at 9%. What do they know that we don't know? Well, number one, they're not drug-addled, crack, whore, hooked people hooked on pharmaceuticals. That's number one. Most of these drugs are illegal in European countries. You can't sell them. Why? Because they kill people. And they make brain-dead, early morning zombies out of people all day long. There is no appeal in conserving dysfunctional institutions. Karl Zinsmeister. Suddenly knocking down defective entities and building anew tempts even the most cautious patriot. The result was the current icon breaking by the Trump administration. I share Thomas Jefferson's view that federal rule should be mild, modest in scope, light in its press on citizens, never high-handed or imperious. And Jefferson said, quote, that government which is best, which governs least, is a line attributed to him. Actually, I'm pretty sure that was the Frenchman, not the Tocqueville. Oh, gosh, what's his name? It'll come to me in a moment. The less Washington roils our daily life, the better. What happens, though, when daily life has already been warped? I think this is what the Christopher Rufo piece hits on today about the Generation B that I was talking about earlier. Over the past decade, our communities were wrenched by government and cultural manias more controlling, crusading, and coercive than anything ever seen in the United States. The Great Awakening, the COVID lies and lockdowns, the hypocritical exemptions to the pandemic mandates granted for the Black Lives Matters riots, etc., disturbing new racial and sexual ideologies, vast expansions of federal spending and power, political weaponization of the justice system, or the injustice system. These spasms pushed public opinion into new places. 5 years ago, there was no broad public support for shutting down the education department. Then the Biden regime used the department to push inflammatory nostrums of identity politics into the children's classrooms and unload billions of student loans from recipients to taxpayers. The status quo got ugly. The stakes soared and impossible reforms suddenly became inevitable. For decades, conservatives acted almost solely as defenders and refiners of society, while progressives were active in attacking norms and taking over organizations. Conservatives came to feel like patsies. They merely kept faulty procedures and rotten agencies in place. They were managing the decline. The left, meanwhile, has been aggressively capturing institutions by patiently feeding activists into the operating ranks of an organization, gradually taking it over from within, then turning it into whatever the hell they wanted to turn it into. A little embellishment there by me. Over the past generation, progressives captured universities, labor unions, the media, and more in this fashion. Here's a good question. Hey, Maggie, is that your boy?
Hulk Hogan? Yes.
Hang on.
Backstory, you know.
Whenever Hulk Hogan's on, when Hulk Hogan news breaks out, we break in.
Rewards, you know, for wrestling growing up, but once we find out what the backstory is, when these guys come through the tunnel, you already care about the athletes.
Plus, why did his beard go black,
when I first
Maggie?
hooked up with Izzy because of the charisma and the business I did. You know, we like to entertain people too.
That's right.
I was worried about these young guys being like flat white bread, you know, and once I got around them, they all got that Conor McGregor swagger. They've been watching TV.
Who doesn't love Conor McGregor?
They know about branding. They understand the opportunity not only to make a ton of money doing what they love, freestyle wrestling, but also the licensing, the merchandising.
But hold on, there's a lot. Here's what's different. Sometimes it's boring. It's great for wrestlers to watch, but you're just hooked up forever, and then the out of bounds. Are you going to change any of the rules?
There's going to be incentives to, much like you'll see in the UFC, so there'll be incentives that are different from collegiate.
You mean there's going to be a new wrestling association? Oh,
dramatic kind of takedowns and tosses and things that are just.
Can we watch it?
When can we watch it?
Yeah, when can we go?
Where?
August 30th is our first event, Cleveland, Ohio, Wellstein Center.
Okay, Hulk, you're famous for this. How about a promo? We'll give you 20 seconds right to that camera.
Give it to me, brother!
Tell us what it's about.
It's going to be crazy, brother. You know, I'm in New York City. I got all lit up last night. I saw Hulk Hogan Scores Sports Bar right down the street next to Madison Square Garden. Everybody in New York City is drinking real American beer, and now I got the best of the best with me. We're taking amateur wrestling, and we're making it the black and blue.
All right,
the black and blue of professional freestyle wrestling. So what you going to do?
We'll watch you and watch.
That's what we're going to do.
Well, good luck to all of them.
No, of course now I want to play.
That's why his beard was black. It's black and blue.
Oh, so he dyed it. Okay, all right. So now I want to play. But when they took a shot at my president, brother, it was over, brother. The Hulk Hogan at the RNC was the greatest of all time, was it not? He ripped that shirt off. Let Trumpomania run! All right, Mike Churchill on the Crusade Radio Network. Glad to have all of you with us that are watching or listening wherever you may be. Join the Crusader Stadium chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. See, we're live and got some action on the YouTube. We're live out there on X.com and on Rumble. Okay, I want to finish this piece up. We got about 2 minutes. Conservatism needed a Trump reset. I agree with this. But, of course, as always, I'm the King Dude, we're going to take it a step further. It goes beyond Trump. Today is the feast of St. Joseph the Worker, a great day, gentlemen, for you to realign and start your engines. The world, your family, the people of the United States, I said this on November the 6th, it's the men of the United States that have to do this heavy lift. The women can't do it. We don't want them to do it. You and I have to do this. It's your time. You're being called. The traditional family confidence in the police, religion in the public square, classical education, all have faded in the face of withering liberal attacks. Then Donald Trump roared into the picture. He flashed into action on the capture and tear down side of social change, where previously only politicians of the left had operated. The public so far has been surprisingly tolerant of his aggressive interventions. There are times when some messy political demolition and noisy rebuilding are necessary. A few years ago, temperamentally conservative Americans wouldn't have countenanced the raucous methods of Trump. He has many of the qualities our mothers warned us against: self-absorption, vulgarity, braggadocio, lack of humility, and more. We'll continue this when we come back for hour 2 back in Morning Drive. Here to tell you how you can enjoy this whole show in crystal clear stereo and without annoying messages like this one. Sign up for a Founders Pass membership for the grand total of 0.0. All we ask is your name and email address. No credit card needed. To sign up, go to crusadechannel.com/offer. Once you're a premium member, you can pull a Braveheart and shout, "Let my ears be free!" Treat your ears today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
Music is a huge part of any good movie, and Mike Church's The Road to Independence, the movie, has an awesome original score and soundtrack. Hi, this is Jim Mosier. I composed and performed the RTI score from the opening Freedom track to the emotional finale, and it's still one of my favorite works of my 30-year career in music. This score is a big part of The Road to Independence, and you'll hear it in beautiful 6-channel surround sound when you purchase a copy of the 2-DVD Director's Edition of The Road to Independence, available now at mikechurch.com/road. By the way, the director guy, even though he's a royal pain, did a pretty good job too. Learn the real story of the Founding Fathers' struggle for independence.
Order your copy of The Road to Independence, the Director's Cut 2-DVD set at shop.mikechurch.com.
Over the years, radio contests have been staged. Repetitive.
Listen and win.
Snooze fests. On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will bring that to an end, and you'll see what playing and winning should actually mean. When President Trump attempts to make America great again, we'll be there for you with the best with live coverage and commentary in media on the Crusade Radio Network, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com.
Attention, Coffee Cop Academy students. Now that DEI is over and CCA order is restored, let us return to training. Now, Rule 4DC calls for the separation of all tasteless decafs, thereby protecting... Who in the name of J.D. Vance could this be?
Guess who's back?
Well, what are you and Lou doing here? Trump abolished DEI, and that includes Rougarou nouns.
He did, but Lou got one of them federale judges to step in, and voila! He gave us what they call an injunction.
Let me see that. And in the order. And by the power festival.
Read it and weep.
I'm gonna have to call this in. Stay here. Hello, White House. I'd like you to list an enemy coffee combatant. They're called the Tom Lou Decaf Cartel, and they're leaders in my office.
Will the Trump White House list and then deport Tommy and Lou? Will the CCA ever be free from the threat of Rougarous as students? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Director Trump. It's time to activate secret asset codenamed Sassy.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, May the 1st, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow was up at close 0.35%, the S&P 0.15%, NASDAQ had dropped slightly 0.09%. Today is National Day of Prayer, always held the first Thursday in May. Designated by the United States Congress, it asks people to turn to God in prayer and meditation. It's also National Silver Star Service Banner Day. We celebrate Silver Star Service Banner Day on May the 1st in recognition for the sacrifices of American service members, those that have been made for our country. To remember service members who have been wounded in combat, are sick, and those who are dying. It's National Law Day and School Principals Day, and it's May Day. Our quote of the day: "Nothing great is ever achieved without enduring much." St. Catherine of Siena. Our saints of the day are Saints Philip and James. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey, Christian patriots, are you tired of waking up to the same old fake news? Start your morning right with the Daily Church Doctrine, written by the King Dude himself. It's the must-have newsletter for the truth seekers like you. Every issue brings you the truth and wisdom quote of the day, plus 3 can't-miss stories every Christian patriot needs to know. And that's not all. You'll get exclusive deals from the Founders Trading Post you won't find anywhere else. Sign up for free at mikechurch.com/dude. That's mikechurch.com/dude. Wake up, stay informed, and join the movement.
Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you," to the end of their psalm readings. Later, "Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus," was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, it's the King Dude for MyPillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of MyPillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original MyPillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the MyPillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com/King Dude.
Now in our 9th year, Crusade Channel News is simply the best daily newscast on all of radio that informs and inspires the Crusader Nation. Catch it at 6, 8, 11, and 1 p.m. on the Crusade Radio Network, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size, too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
Over the years, radio contests have been staged. Repetitive.
Repetitive.
Listen and win. Snooze fests. On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will bring that to an end. And you'll see what playing and winning should actually mean.
What's the difference between your average day late dollar short podcast and the Mike Church Show live? About the same as between the new Walker, Texas Homo and Walt Longmire.
Citizens, soldiers, I'm here at the order of General Robert E. Lee, commanding all Virginia forces. On April 15th of this year of our Lord, 1861, Simon Cameron, the Secretary of War of the United States, sent a telegram to our Governor, John Letcher, directing him to raise 3 regiments of infantry to be sent to assist in suppressing the Southern Confederacy. Governor Letcher's answer is well known to you, but perhaps not his words. His wire to Washington stated, "You have chosen to inaugurate civil war. And having done so, we will meet you in a spirit as determined as the Lincoln administration has exhibited toward the South." 2 days later, the Virginia legislature voted for secession. Just as we would not send any of our soldiers to march in other states and tyrannize other people, so will we never allow the armies of others to march into our state and tyrannize our people. Like many of you, indeed most of you, I've always been a Union man. It is not with joy or with a light heart that many of us have welcomed secession. Had our neighbors to the north practiced a less bellicose form of persuasion, perhaps this day might not have come, but that day has been thrust upon us like it was thrust upon our ancestors. The Lincoln administration required us to raise 3 regiments. Tell them we have done so.
I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than life. I'm gonna watch it grow.
Performing this show with 86.1% of my testosterone tied behind my back just to make it fair. An oasis of toxic masculinity awash in a sea of single, angry, despondent cat ladies. You know, I was laughing myself silly. Mrs. Chur went to bed earlier last night because obviously it was an early day for us here, getting back up and doing the early morning show. And I have received so many. Where have all of you people been the last decade? I got a note from a friend, King Dude. Something about the world just seems more correct hearing you in the early morning. I got an email earlier today. I shall share it with you at IamKingDude@protonmail.com. Good morning, TKD. I know you were hoping for the complete destruction of your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. Yes, I was actually hoping that the Conan thing would come about. You are correct.
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women.
Yeah, an afternoon drive. Sorry it didn't happen that way for you, but I, for one, have a much easier time with my ridiculous schedule, fully engaging in the morning. Love the show and glad you're back in the AM. Prayers for continued greatness. Signed, your buddies in the chat room, Philip. Well, thank you, Philip. Good to hear from all of you. BK in Michigan, aimlessly wandering about for the last 6 weeks, running into walls in the middle of the morning and what have you. Having to be escorted and dragged around by the chicken lady because he just didn't know what to do with himself. Asking this morning, who's the patron saint of listeners? Well, that's an easy one. The patron saint of listeners and of broadcasters is St. Maximilian Kolbe. And if you don't know, well, why is it St. Maximilian Kolbe? I can't even hardly pronounce that, dude. Because he worked in radio. He started a radio station. I forget the call letters of it. SC22, something to that effect. In any event, we're glad to be back. Hopefully we pick up where we left off, and the audience continues to grow and come back to here to us, and we can resume where we were on the digital video broadcasting platforms. But until that happens, let me continue with this piece that is brought to you by our friends at the 2awatchcompany.com. The number 2, letter A, watchcompany.com. By the way, just showing you all my POTUS 47. You may not be able to quite see it. It is a beautiful, beautiful watch. I don't wear it around because I don't want to scratch up the glass cover. But you can see that's my POTUS 47 that Josh and George actually custom made for me. I asked for a Gator band, and they gave me a Gator band. You can ask for your own band. And it's a beautiful chronograph. You can see the back. You can see the 2A logo kind of etched into the bezel. I love my, and look, I love it so much, I only wear it on special occasions. Today is a special occasion. So I wore my POTUS 4547. Get you one today. You can get this exact watch at 2awatchcompany.com. Use the coupon code CHURCH at checkout. Take 15% off and tell them I sent you. That's 2awatchcompany.com. I can't wait until this radio depression is over. And I have some spending money again, because I can't wait. They got a watch there that I got my eye on that I'm going to go buy as soon as I am able. So graduation season is here. There are a lot of young men that are graduating, and maybe older men that are graduating and went back to school or went to trade school or something. A great gift is a 2A watch. Second Amendment theme, Liberty themed, POTUS 4547. Two young guys trying to make it big in these United States as entrepreneurs. I love my buddies, Josh and George. You'll love them too. They got beautiful young families too that they're supporting. This is their nighttime job, by the way, but they'd like to be watchmakers to the king, of course, full time. So shop with them today, 2awatchcompany.com. A few years ago, and I'm back to this piece about conservatism that needed a Trump reset. A few years ago, temperamentally conservative Americans wouldn't have countenanced the raucous methods of Trump. He gets into the things that most people don't like about Trump. Americans, however, have no lasting appetite for upheaval. Once we are beyond today's emergency, our national healers will need to shift to more restrained, disciplined, and respectful modes of treatment. Our revived nation will require builders of consensus, leaders who share Jefferson's preference for a mild and less intrusive state. Ordinary citizens will soon want Mordor and the Potomac, emphasis mine, to become a quieter and more boring place. That way they can stop focusing on events in our nation's capital and pour energy into their traditional priorities or enterprise, family and community building. Boy, Mr. Zinsmeister, I could not agree with you more on that. If there isn't even eventually a transition of this sort, the Trump era could end in flaming hubris and overreach. From Odysseus to Napoleon, that's the way bold changes always fall down. Overconfidence and pride causing fatal mistakes. That outcome is entirely avoidable, but it will require a shifting of gears at some point by Mr. Trump and by all those who want to see his reforms extended into the future. And Zinsmeister served as the White House Chief of Domestic Policy Advisor from 2006 to 2009. He is the author of Backbone, Why American Populism Should Be Welcomed and Not Feared, and the new memoir, My West Wing, from which his article is adapted. I agree. And today, on the 1st of May, 2025, a great day to remember St. Joseph the Worker. In the final hour of the program today, as is tradition, this will be year number 5, I'm going to play for you my friend Father Henderson's magnificent opus, magnus opus of sermon craft on why the Illuminati, and there actually are and were it's not just an Alex Jones thing.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Do you understand that?
Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Crap.
Gay. Frogs.
I'll play you that sermon, and he explains everything and why May the 1st is the day. It's a great little history lesson. He has the most charming of all Southern accents there because he is from Alabama. And we will do that in due course as the program gets underway. Tomorrow, you can win a pound of gold here on the Mike Church Show. It's a real promotion. You know, I was asking the question. I said, why are people like giving emoji hysterical laughter, crying, laughing when Chicken Lady sends out an invite for someone to buy a ticket for $50? And the first thing is, I don't have $50 to spare. If you don't have $50 to spare for an opportunity that could like dramatically change your life, you quit life. Go join a monastery, okay? We don't need you in our society. You are a complete and total failure, and you need to leave.
Most people spend
You'll go spend $50 tonight if you got 5 kids and a wife at McDonald's. You don't have $50. You can't imagine in your 2025 American brain that someone would actually do such a thing. That's what it is. Well, it's going to happen. Someone is going to get that ticket, is going to buy that ticket, or maybe they'll win it, and is going to win that pound of 24-karat shimmering, glimmering gold. And if you don't believe me, there's testimonials now on the website. You'll see them tomorrow. Andy Scheckman, the CEO of Miles Franklin, will join me tomorrow. Andy is the sponsor. Andy will tell you, Mike is legit. Miles Franklin is all in. Miles Franklin will be providing the silver for the weekly contest for the affiliates to see who can sell the most tickets. So it's 3 weeks in a row, a pound of silver is going to be won by one of you who's going to use your affiliate link. When you buy a ticket, you get an affiliate link and a QR code to go and share it with your friends and family. This hurdle of people going like, I don't believe that it's real. You know what? You guys are going to have to combat that. But I think that we got an ad campaign that's coming up that will help all that along. So in any event, it starts in earnest. I can't wait to tell you all about it and give you the website officially and let the ticket window open tomorrow morning. Ticket window is not open right now. Only if you have an affiliate link is the ticket window open. Okay. Digital media files. Lots to get to. I mentioned this in segment 1 of the program. The cluster B society here, or the cluster society, by Christopher Rufo. This is a really good read, and he has this figured. He has it, as I like to say, he has it sussed. What's happening here and what has happened. Mental illness has become normalized. That's what's happened. And it wasn't an accident. People don't just go schizo and crazy overnight. They were led to the fountain they drank, and now they're mentally deranged. I don't think it's most people's fault. I think we need to have some mercy and some empathy and sympathy with those that were bowled over or gave in or joined, however it happened. But I believe most of this can be reversed. Now, the clinically sick, and there are clinically sick out there, we're going to have to build mental institutions again. We're going to have to lock people up. It's as simple as that. And I'm talking about people that are a threat to themselves and to other people around them. That's a rare bird. The first thing we can do is make America healthy again and get weaned off of psychotropic, SSRI, and other debilitating pharmaceuticals. And all of this nonsense about losing weight by basically telling your pancreas to stop working. This is... You know how many people are going to die as a result of Ozempic weight loss? There are a lot of people that are going to die prematurely because their pancreases are going to shut down. And there are other things that this stuff is destroying in people's bodies. This stuff, there is no long-term study on any of this. Well, I think all this needs to come to an end. We'll talk about it. Okay. Digital media file number 1. That's just one of the pieces that we have in the pile of prep here today. Trump calls into News Nation's town hall. This is funny. I wish he had my phone number. That's the first time I hit it today. I wish he had my phone number. You know, I meant to ask Thomas Massey. You know, next time I have him on, maybe I'll get a chance and I'll ask him. You said he called you after your wife died to console you. What does it look like? What does it show up on caller ID when Trump calls you? Does it say Il Donaldo Trumpo? Does it say POTUS 45? Does it say Donald Trump, Mar-a-Lago, or West Palm Beach, Florida? As the exchange that the call came out. I'm just curious. In any event, here's Trump calling into News Nation yesterday. This is a good one.
As you know, it was won at the Supreme Court. And what we're doing is we have a country that's based solely on merit now. And that's the way it is. If somebody's out there doing a great job, and this includes getting into colleges, if you've worked really hard, and we don't look at race, we don't look at color, we don't look at height or shortness or weight. If somebody is doing a good job and they worked and they got great marks and they got great board numbers and they get rejected at this Harvard, which has been so disgusting, so horribly. I mean, so think of it. They hired Bill de Blasio and Lori Lightfoot, the two worst mayors in the history. They pay them a fortune.
But that was the course, though.
They're teaching management.
The
Let
course
me just
was,
tell you that
the
it's
course
based
was
now, Stephen, on merit.
They hired Bill de Blasio and Lori Lightfoot, the two worst people ever, to be mayors, and they paid them a fortune, and look what they did. They destroyed New York City, and he goes on to say, she destroyed Chicago. It's destroyed. And now this clown that they have in there, these people are incompetent. They've got to go. All right. I think it's funny. Here's another thing that I think is funny today here on the 1st of May, 2025. Welcoming all of you back to the Morning Drive version of the Mike Church Show. Can you tell that we're having a great time this morning? We're happy to be here. Why is Stephen A. Smith on the stage on this News Nation town hall? Now, I don't know that much about News Nation. I do know that it's Chris Cuomo's new home. Supposedly, this is the new news. This is the new media news outlet here, and we're gonna get things right. And we're conservative, and we have diverse voices, and this and that and the other. You know, I don't like, and I never liked this fair and balanced BS that Fox used to cram down people's throats. There's only one truth. Why do we live amongst people who lie to themselves and then lie to their audiences 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year? To say that there is a valid point to be made in legalizing or making legal a woman's ability, I'm not going to use the word right because it's not a right, a woman's ability to choose to kill her soon-to-be born child, there's no argument that can be made in an ethical, moral, Christian society that makes that licit. Does everyone understand this? So someone that makes the argument in the public square doesn't have a right to make the argument. It's not fair and balanced because the question is unfair. It is unfair to God. He created us, and thus the child, and it's unfair to the child. The child doesn't get a vote. The child has no voice. So to say, and I'm just giving you one example, to say that, dude, we're always fair and balanced. Now, let's hear from our friends in the pro-choice side on the other side. There are no friends who want to murder children. Better chart, please. You can't put it like that. You'll run everyone off. Go. There is, I've seen, by the way, to his credit, I've seen Charlie Kirk make this argument on college campi to brain-dead, stupid co-eds who will sit there and argue with him, and he'll go like, you don't have a point. You cannot enter this debate with the first statement is, I have a right to kill a child. That's, Katie barred the door, the debate is over. There is no debate. You're an evil witch sorceress, okay? That's what I would have said. You are on the side of sorcery. You may as well go back, and before St. Patrick got to Ireland, you may as well go back and become a druid sorceress. And by the way, your path straight to hell is assured. So this idea we're a diverse news organization. We cover all viewpoints. A viewpoint would be here. Let me give you the difference in a viewpoint.
Well, Mr. Church, you think that education should only be funded by parents and not by government. Is that correct? Yes, I think that it is responsibility of parents to fund their own children's education. And if they can't provide for their child's education, unless they can find a sponsor. No, see, now nobody wants to hear my side of the argument here. You know, I got in an argument with the president of the University of New Orleans when I was on ABC television about 12 years ago, who wrote a letter to the station demanding that my editorial be taken down. And they took it down. And I said to the news, I said, why? Why did you take it down? He goes, well, because there's a client and they had a point. I'm like, no, he didn't have a point. My point was that the state of Louisiana and the University of New Orleans does not have some God-given right to tax people and take the proceeds of the tax and apply it to the education of other children. That a priori, from the get-go, that right cannot exist. And we should say that right does not exist. Now, and I gave the example, and I said, why didn't you give me a chance? And then he goes, well, do a follow-up commentary. And of course I did. My follow-up commentary was that the president of the university, the dean, actually got it wrong. And this is what the point that I was trying to make was. I said, let's just pretend in the great tourism capital of the South, that is New Orleans, let's just pretend that there is a great need. Remember you, Maggie? Because you almost have a degree in this, in the food services, hospitality industry, and as a nutritionist. Remember me saying that, and you said I got this right at the time. So let's say that I'll just use one of Trump's friends, Barron Hilton. He named his son Barron for Barron Hilton. Let's just use Barron Hilton. Hilton has a couple of hotels in the New Orleans area. Let's just say that the Hilton Corporation needs managers, it needs chefs, it needs sous chefs, it needs all manner of positions to be filled that can be trained at the Votech arm of the University of New Orleans. And they actually do have these hospitality management services is a degree you could get. My point was Hilton should subsidize that kid's education by making a deal with the student. I'll pay for your education. First 4 years of your career belong to the Hilton Corporation. And we will pay you. You'll get benefits. But when you get out of college, you come to work for Hilton. Now, can someone tell me why my idea isn't the policy of every Votech and every college in the land here? It makes eminent and complete and total sense, does it not? It is the corporation, in this case, the Hilton hotel chain, that needs the people. Do you not think that if this was presented to Hilton, why wouldn't they agree to this? If it was presented to the Marriott Corporation, why wouldn't they agree with this? I think that they would, especially if there was no state-guaranteed education alternative. And by the way, this is done in other places. We'll be right back. The NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. That was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is The Mike Church Show, now simulcast live on Roku, YouTube, and Rumble. But if you miss an hour or a day, you can watch that entire show whenever you want when you become a Premium Founders Pass member. Sign up today and access my 2,000-plus podcast. So many, I can't even get my mom to say that she listened. Go premium today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
Over the years, radio contests have been staged. Repetitive.
Repetitive.
Listen and win. Snooze fests. On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will bring that to an end. And you'll see what playing and winning should actually mean.
Folks, I want to talk to you about investing in precious metals and Miles Franklin. Andy Schechtman and his father started Miles Franklin together with the belief that precious metals are wealth, not an investment. Now, you've heard Andy on the Mike Church Show. You know his knowledge and passion for precious metals is second to none. So call Miles Franklin today and tell him I sent you. 952-929-7006. Ask about precious metals storage and IRAs too. Call 952-929-7006. Hey, it's Mike Church, and I'm here to tell you how you can enjoy this whole show in crystal clear stereo and without annoying messages like this one. Sign up for a Founders Pass membership for the grand total of 0.0. All we ask is your name and email address. No credit card needed. To sign up, go to crusadechannel.com/offer. Once you're a premium member, you can pull a Braveheart and shout, "Let my ears be brave!" Treat your ears today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
The Crusade Channel, your news, talk, and Fiorella file station. Fiorella reads and reviews so you can read and purchase with confidence, 9 to 10 a.m. every Monday on the Crusade Radio Network, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com.
Hey folks, did you know that the word watch, as in wristwatch, originates from the Old English word watcha, meaning watchfulness, and was initially used to describe keeping a lookout or being alert? Well, I know two guys who keep a lookout for the highest quality watch movements, bands, and then apply their own love for liberty and the Second Amendment to the design of the faces, and bammo, you have the 2A Liberty Watch Company. My friends George and Josh design watches that are sharp, functional, and inspire. I wear my 2A 4547 POTUS watch every day, and you'll love yours too. Shop their entire line today at 2awatchcompany.com. Use the code CHURCH for 10% off at 2awatchcompany.com.
Listen up, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans. Now, if you wear one new t-shirt this spring, then make sure you pour yourself into a new Mike Church Show neon microphone t-shirts. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton.
Brother Mike Church presents Flashback, Sinful Things That Were Happening 20 Years Ago. Jurassic Park, the remake of Godzilla, and the beginning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming, or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Let's hope and pray no one will ever confess those sins again. The Mike Church Show, preaching and teaching from his abbey while living here in the present on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Why wearing sunglasses at night helped you keep track of visions. I tried it. Have you ever wore sunglasses at night to focus your vision? Marcus Tullius Meridius Maximus Augustus, Mike Church Show here on the Crusade Radio Network on a Thursday. Big day tomorrow, folks. Well, big day today. St. Joseph, the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. And if you don't know the story of St. Joseph the Worker, I will tell it to you at the top of next hour when we hear from Father Henderson. And we have some other stuff that we'll add to it. And again, not a coincidence that we begin great things on a May the 1st again. You know what else happened on May the 1st? The first Crusader Congress was held in Covington, Louisiana on Saturday, May the 1st. That's back when an awful lot of people still liked me and Maggie and the Crusaders and the Crusade, and traveled from parts all around the United States to come and hang out and meet one another in person. It was a great Friday evening. Actually, it was people were so excited to get here. They came here on Wednesday. Some people arrived on Wednesday for the first Crusader Congress, which was held at a fire station hall in Covington, Louisiana, and we what was that? I'm trying to remember the name of that. I think it's just called the fire station. Firehouse Conference Center. And we had a great Thursday evening. Brother Andre and Brother Joseph came, and we had a great Thursday evening, big hoop-de-doo dinner and a big party on Friday at the tap room. And, of course, the conference kicked off on Saturday, and Chris Ferrara was our keynote. That was in 2021, May the 1st, 2021. That was a great time. And it seemed like so many things were possible. Oh, look, the sky's the limit. And then, what happened? Well, like Mitter Monday always says, you create something and ultimately it forgets the purpose that it was created for. I think it's just mostly just apathy. That people just, it's very difficult to keep something going for that amount of time. Maybe we'll have another Congress someday. Nope. Maybe the audience, somebody else can do the work. Yeah, the audience grows so tremendously that we have thousands and tens upon tens of thousands of adoring fans once again. And they will demand, we want a meeting, we want a Crusader Fest. Okay, well, we'll do a Congress. So in any event, that was May the 1st, 2020, 5 years ago today. That was a Saturday. And here it is Thursday. All right, let's do some recap of the town hall meeting yesterday, because we only played small parts of it while we were on the air yesterday. And we missed a lot, and there's a lot of good stuff in it. Well, you start at the top with J.D. Vance. I tell you what, no, do number 4. Pete Hegseth and the military recruiting. Why are young men now standing online in front of recruiting officers going like, oh, pick me, pick me? Maybe because they have a commander-in-chief and a defense secretary who aren't running around. Okay, who aren't running around chasing and recruiting faggots. Mickey Rourke was on a season of Big Brother. I'm going to tell you all about it when this is over, because they're kind of related here.
Go ahead, Pete. Well, Mr. President, I think we're controversial because we're over the target. And like so many things, Mr. President, you inherited a demoralized military that couldn't recruit, that was perceived as weak after what happened in Afghanistan and elsewhere because of Joe Biden. And what we have seen since your election and the inauguration has been nothing short of a recruiting renaissance. Decades, it hasn't been decades since we've seen this kind of recruiting in the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force. The men and women of America want to join the United States military led by President Donald Trump.
And the police, by the way.
Absolutely.
And fire.
And fire.
I always mention the fire, but the police and fire. But the police and fire likewise they have waiting lists now. And 6 months ago was a disaster.
Truly historic. We can barely absorb the volume and retention as well. Men and women in the military who don't want to get out now that they have a real commander-in-chief. We're reinforcing standards. We're going to be fit, not fat, in our formations. We welcome back all the folks who were forced out because of the COVID mandate. We've ripped wokeness out of the military, sir, DEI, trans, and it's Fort Benning and Fort Bragg again at the DOD.
There you go.
We're rebuilding the military, sir. The Golden Dome is well underway. F-47, reassuring allies and deterring enemies. We found nearly $6 billion in DOGE savings that we're going to reinvest, including $50 billion from the Biden administration focused on things like climate that have nothing to do with lethality and warfighting. And we will have, as you said, sir, the first $1 trillion budget that we plan to spend wisely on behalf of our warfighters. From day one, sir, we've helped get 100% operational control of the border, come alongside DHS and CBP. We've got 11,000 troops on the border who now, because of the new national defense area, sir, can help detain illegals at the border and hand them over to CBP. It used to be if you saw camouflage on the border, they could hold binoculars, and that's it. Now we can detain and assist, and we're going to get 100% operational control of that border.
You can hold binoculars.
That's all they were allowed to do.
Private, what do you see there, Private? Well, sir, through my binoculars, see entire families of what look to be Hispanics crossing the Rio Grande River there. What else can you see, Private? Well, it looks like a bunch of coyotes and drug smugglers. What can we do about it, Private? I've been wanting to play this song. Let's do a Return to Border update.
Return to border. Return to border. He gave his ID to
Mike Church Show Band.
Is this a new song, Clark?
No.
But right and early next morning, we found out that he was a wet,
undocumented worker.
They rolled upon him. Return to border. Green card unknown. No such number. Please go home. He worked for quarters, not for greenbacks. He does the jobs that we won't do because it hurts our backs. On the form he checked the wrong box, gave us a fake ID. So bright and early next morning, he's running from the IDC. They rolled upon him. Return to border. Green card unknown. No such number. Please go home. Oh, this the time I'm gonna take him myself and bring him back to his land.
This is the Mike Church Show Band.
If he comes back the very next day, I'll make him understand. This is a border. Return to border.
A song I wrote in 2007.
No such number.
And Jim Bozier let me sneak into the studio and actually do the lead vocal for that one. Find that on my anthology collection at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. Return to border. Speaking of the border is having people return to it. Somebody put in one of the chats last night, and I was getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, I'm not taking the bait. I am not doing it. It was some full of estrogen and of herself. Here it is. Just in, U.S. Federal District Judge Jennifer Thurston sends out an order banning Border Patrol from arresting illegal aliens without a warrant. Ignore her. 3 words. Actually 2. Ignore her. She does not have the authority. The authority. I think what they're doing now, ladies and gentlemen, they're competing to see. I think they have little office pools going on amongst the American Civil Liberties Union, the pinko commies that run that joint. I think they have little office pools going on, and they're seeing which one can get away with the most ridiculous statement yet. I keep waiting for one to come out and say, federal judge orders Trump to self-arrest and confinement at White House until further notice. Here we have the specter of the Biden regime and the people that ran it. As the evidence the story slowly starts to leak out, and you see that these people were committing active, engaged treason against the United States. And here the Trump administration came in, they're trying to fix things. And then you have, and they knew this was going to happen. I love the J.D. Vance clip that's coming up, because J.D., do we have it? I thought I saw it. Oh, it is. Okay, number 5. Play digital media file number 5. This is J.D. Vance saying that the president told us all on day one. He told, before any of this happened, he told us they're going to try and stop us. They're going to try and stop us. That's what they're going to do. I'm just preparing. We need to be prepared. And they're going to do it illegally, immorally, and they don't care. They don't care. They're just going to try and stop us. And we should all know that we're going to beat them in every instance, okay? They're going to lose in every instance. They're going to lose. So here's what, and then J.D. said, well, here's what he told us about that.
From the time that I was born to the time that Donald J. Trump was inaugurated just a few months ago, we went from, again, 40 years, we went from the world's manufacturing superpower to one in which we depend on the People's Republic of China to make the things that we need. We went from the proudest military in the world to one in which we failed to meet our recruiting goals. And we went from one in which bipartisan border policy was the consensus of both Democrats and Republicans to one in which we allowed 20 million people to run roughshod illegally over the countryside, causing crime, causing a stress in the welfare system. And again, that happened over the lifetime of the youngest member of the cabinet. And what has happened in 100 days is that we've started to reverse every single one of those negative trends. And I think what it shows to me is that the president, and you sit in the Oval Office and you see these portraits of presidents past, and let's be honest, most of them have been placeholders. They've been people who have allowed their staff to sign executive orders with an auto pen instead of men of action. And the reason the media attacks this administration as chaotic is because the president is solving the problems the American people set about to solve. He's actually doing the things that he promised that he would do. And Mr. President, it's been an honor to be part of it for the past 100 days.
JD goes on to say, I don't think we have the clip, but I could tell you because I listened to it. He goes on to say that President told us on day one, before day one, that all of this was going to happen. He told us that none of this is going to be easy, that they weren't just going to give in, and they were going to fight, and they were going to cheat, and they were going to lie, and they were going to do everything that they're doing right now. So he called everything that's happened, he called it, and he told us we're going to stay the course and we're going to win. In every instance, we're going, but we're not going to do what they do. We're not going to cheat. We are going to abide by the law. We're going to abide by the judge's orders, and we're going to fight them. So far, the strategy has pretty much worked. You know, he was asked, Trump was asked by Moron. Why can't I remember this guy? Who?
Morin.
Yeah, what's his first name?
I think it's Terry.
Terry.
Or Terry or Jerry.
No, it's Terry. By Terry Moron of ABC News. You know, and I finally figured out after listening to that clip again yesterday, I don't know, Maggie, maybe if you still have it pulled up, where Terry Moron was going like, Mr. President, that wasn't an MS-13 tattoo. It was photoshopped in. And Trump is going like, what are you talking about, Terry? It's right there on the knuckles. You can see it on the knuckles. Right, it's right there. What Terry Moron of ABC News was talking about was Photoshop, where the alphanumeric translation of the characters that made up MS-13. The M was a marijuana leaf, and they put an M above it in Photoshop or whatever. The S, well, what was the S? It was the marijuana leaf. It was the, and I can't remember. The I was, the 1 was a cross, and the 3 was a skull with a dot for the left eye, a dot for the right eye, and a dot for the mouth. That was the 3, and I forget what the S was. A smiley face, that's what it was, a smile. So there you go. So hieroglyphic, gang hieroglyphics, MS-13. By the way, the dingbat girlfriend, we now have the complaint that she filed. Somebody went to the courthouses and wouldn't take no for an answer. They went to the courthouses and they got the second complaint where she said, I am afraid of him. He tells me he can kill me and they won't do anything to him. This is the cause célèbre of the Democrat, sorcerer, pederast party. When you hear the RFK Jr. clip, all of this is going to start making sense of what Alejandro Mayorkas and the rest of them. Okay, Maggie just put it into the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. You can see right there MS13. Well, that's the someone putting the actual alphanumeric MS1 and 3 above the hieroglyphics, the gang hieroglyphics, marijuana leaf, smiley face with the smile and the 2 X's for the eyes, crucifix for the 1, and then the skull with, as I said, the one, dot for the right eye, dot for the left eye, dot for the nose. And that's the 3, MS13. There it is right there. Play the, you had the Terry Moore on. All right, here you go. This was the argument.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No. I follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen.
No, it doesn't.
I was elected to take care of a problem. It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my #1 issue, but it was pretty close.
Right up there.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened. It happened very quickly. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, I'm talking. Shut up.
Murderers, criminals in this country.
Shut up, I'm
we have to
talking.
get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had
On
MS-13.
his knuckles.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
Wait a minute.
Terry.
No,
You
wait a
did not
minute.
have the letter MS13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That
just...
was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you
You're
because,
doing the interview.
frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it was Photoshop?
Well, here we go.
Don't
You think it was
Photoshop. Go
Photoshop?
look at his hand. He
Fair
had
enough.
MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine,
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
Terry, shut up.
He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
Can we just move on, Mr. President?
They're there now, right?
No,
but
they're in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look.
It's you just...
So reminds me of this. Okay, let me quickly so that I can do this in context. MTV recruits actor Mickey Rourke for a season of Big Brother. I don't watch the show. Mrs. Chur told me about it, and she was still, I was like, what are you laughing at? What is so funny? And then she told me. So I'm just going to share it with you real quick. So Mickey Rourke gets into the house and going through the first couple of challenges or whatever, and then there's a woman, a young woman there, who's famous because she was one of the girls that was on Dance Moms with Abby Lee.
Her name is JoJo.
And her name is JoJo. So the little girl that was on Dance Moms with Abby Lee is now an adult, and now she's come out of the closet as a lesbian. So she's on the show Big Brother. Mickey Rourke, the actor, is also on the show. So, and this is like in the first episode. So they go through their first challenge, and then they're having small talk. And she says, and then they're in the room, and and Mickey Rourke is in the room, and she says, well, my girlfriend who has she, them pronouns or whatever is watching that, and we're gonna get married, and I love her, and this and that and the other. And so Mickey Rourke goes, oh, hey, wait. I didn't tell me I was bunking up with a faggot. Are you a faggot? And she said, and she goes, no, I'm a lesbian. I'm not a faggot. He goes, so you like girls, right? Yes, I go, yeah, faggot. And she's just, you can't talk to me like that. He goes, let me tell you something, sweetheart. You see all these buff beefcake guys in this room here you're going to be bunking up with? Here's what's going to happen by the end of this show. You're going to want some male body parts, okay? You're going to be straight. You're not going to be a faggot anymore. That's what's going to happen, okay? I'm going to tell you right now. Well, she's just, oh, I've never, the indignation of it all. The producers are obviously watching this. And they go, Mickey Rourke to the conference room, please. Mickey Rourke, Mickey to the conference room, Mickey to the conference room. Of course, Mickey Rourke is like, well, what the hell they want? You know, all right, let me go see what they want. So they come back and they tell Mickey Rourke, dude, you can't do that. You can't be a bigot. We're in the UK. They'll arrest you. So you're kicked off the show. We're going to put you on a plane to get you out of here, out of the UK. Mickey Rourke's like, okay, cool, whatever. So he gets his stuff, and he's walking out, and he passes the room where the girl was, and he goes, hey, y'all, they kicked me off the show. Peace out, y'all. And hey, you're still a faggot. and he rolls out the door. He said, yeah, peace out. Hey, you. Peace out, faggot. So then back to the recruiting in the Pete Hegseth clip that we played earlier. All right, we'll tell you all about it. Top of next hour. Don't go away. Our Capuchin Dark Roast is now in its 6th year as Crusade Channel listeners' favorite coffee. Grab a bag of whole bean or ground, fresh roasted goodness today and take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for all our coffees at shop.mychurch.com.
Oh, man, May is so boring. I wonder if there's anything on the radio here. On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will launch a broadcast contest unlike any other in history, and you'll see why May 2025 won't be just another May.
Hey folks, it's Mike Church, producer of the Shakespeare Radio Film Festival, announcing that we're offering the entire festival, including Joseph Pierce's commentaries, for just $19.95. That's a 50% discount. This exclusive download will include over 16 hours of festival content. To reserve your Shakespeare Radio Film Festival download at an incredible 50% off, go to crusadechannel.com/Hamlet.
You know that thing you can't cook without? That's your bread and butter, or should I say Beast and Butt Rub. This seasonal is quickly becoming a kitchen essential for hundreds of American families. Pick up a bottle today and help make that thousands. It's perfect on veggies, eggs, popcorn, chicken, and of course, pork ribs and butts. Make every meal uniquely delicious with a sprinkle of flavor you can count on. Grab yourself a bottle, or better yet, a 6-pack at shop.mychurch.com. You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust. Because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Thursday, May the 1st, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reveals the Biden administration's State Department kept dossiers on Americans accused of serving as vectors of disinformation. Elon Musk receives applause from cabinet as he begins planned departure from Doge. Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre's journal entry and a toast to the health benefits of champagne. Secretary of State Marco Rubio revealed during a cabinet meeting that the Biden administration State Department kept dossiers on Americans accused of serving as vectors of disinformation, including a file on an unidentified Trump administration official. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans, Rubio said during yesterday's cabinet meeting with our president. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. J.D. Vance interjected, asking, was it me or Elon Musk? We can follow up when the media is gone. Drawing laughter from the cabinet, Rubio continued, we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. Elon received a round of applause from President Donald Trump's cabinet as he prepares for a planned exit from his role in Doge. You have been treated unfairly, Trump said to Musk yesterday, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you. And this whole room can say that very strongly. You opened up a lot of eyes as to what could be done, and we want to thank you very much. You're invited to stay as long as you want, Trump said, as applause broke out in the room for Musk. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars and his family, he said. Days after the third Jeffrey Epstein abuse accuser to die in recent years took her own life, her family shared an excerpt from a heartbreaking journal entry Virginia Giuffre left behind. In the portion of the note shared by Giuffre's family, she encouraged other abuse victims to stand together and continue to fight. Our quote of the day, nothing great is ever achieved without enduring much, St. Catherine of Siena. And coming up, our saint of the day, you're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the King Dude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all three spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the King Dude offers you his personal money-back guarantee of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a King Dude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com. You may not believe it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a work of nonfiction. Hear it and other amazing tales on Turley's Believe It or Else, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central on the Crusade Radio Network, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com.
Our saints of the day are Saints Philip and James. Philip came from the same town as Peter and Andrew, Bethsaida in Galilee. Jesus called him directly. He sought out Nathanael and told him of the one whom Moses wrote. Like the other apostles, Philip took a long time coming to realize who Jesus was. On one occasion, when Jesus saw the great multitude following him and wanted to give them food, he asked Philip where they should buy bread for the people. And St. John says Jesus said this to test him because he himself knew what he was going to do. Meanwhile, James was the son of Alphaeus, and we really know nothing of this man except his name, and of course the fact that Jesus chose him to be one of the 12 pillars of the new Israel, his church. He is not to be confused with the James of Acts, son of Clopas, brother of Jesus, and later bishop of Jerusalem, and the traditional author of the letter of James. James, the son of Alphaeus, is also known as James the Lesser, to avoid confusing him with James the son of Zebedee, also an apostle, and known as James the Greater. A new study suggests that regular drinking of champagne or white wine could lower your risk of sudden cardiac arrest, which is SCA, a serious condition that claims the lives of over 436,000 Americans every year. The study, which was published in the Canadian Journal of Cardiology, identified 56 modifiable risk factors for SCA. Researchers suggest that 40 to 63% of cases of sudden cardiac arrest could be preventing by changing a few factors. And apart from drinking champagne and white wine, some other factors that have protective benefits are eating more fruit, maintaining a healthy BMI, staying upbeat, and being well educated. But what really does you in is high blood pressure, poor sleep, sedentary behavior, smoking, and excess fat. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
Oh man, May is so boring. I wonder if there's anything on the radio here.
On May 2nd, the Mike Church Show will launch a broadcast contest unlike any other in history, and you'll see why May 2025 won't be just another May.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks, sir. Just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there. You didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
The Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
Well, I was rolling down the road in some cold blue steel. I had a blues man on the back and a beautician out the wheel. We're going downtown in the middle of the night. We're laughing and I'm joking and we're feeling alright. Oh, I'm bad. I'm nationwide.
Hi, how you doing? Well, I got a press briefing underway for Stephen Miller. Oh, we're going to chime in on this one, folks. Welcome back. We are as tickled. We are as tickled pink as pink can be. We'll be back here on In the Morning Drive where we belong. I just got a fantastic little email note. I'll share it with you in just a moment. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trade-In Post Store at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. 11 new book titles this month alone from Ignatius Press and Tan Books and Sophia Institute and St. Augustine Academy. All sorts of restocks of the Treasure and Tradition book and much, much more. Plus, the cigars are in and fresh. The Capuchin Holy Roast coffee is in and fresh. And then look at that right there. My trilogy of great cooking spices for all barbecue activities. And in the kitchen. If you're not a barbecue cook, don't worry about it. Beast and butt rub, Acadiana steak seasoning, and chicken mamu work great in the kitchen. We use it every day here at Shea, at Shea King Dude. So shop with us today. Shop.mikechurch.com. And thank you in advance. Quickly. So the press conference, the daily briefing at the White House, we're going to go to that. And I am King Dude at protonmail.com. Just received this. No, please write me. I love hearing from all of you. And by the way, April crowdfunding is over. So we're going to have to start May. Tomorrow, the Win a Pound of Gold contest begins. And it is a competition contest. I'm going to announce tomorrow another game inside the contest. This is not your father's Win a Kia Soul. This is a Win a Pound of Gold. And it's serious. You're going to win. You can go to the website, and I'll give you the address tomorrow. The value of the pound of gold is on the site. We're not going to give you the cash equivalent. We're going to send the gold to you. And if things work out and enough people buy tickets and play, I'm going to sweeten the deal. And I'm actually going to deliver it to you in person. So, well, how am I going to get it? What the hell are we supposed to do, you moron? You're supposed to play the greatest contest on-air giveaway game in the history of broadcasting, beginning tomorrow. And tell your stupid friends that it's not a scam, it's not a game, we're not con artists, we've given great things away before, we're just upping the game. So there's no catch to it. You don't have to be a member. You do not have to be a Founders Pass member. Hell, you don't even have to be a listener. I hope it makes you a listener, but you don't have to be. King Dude, I found your program about a year ago, and I always enjoyed listening to you while getting ready for and driving to work. See, she figured out how to get it in her car. How come some of you dunderheads out there, hey, that lady there, she figured out how to get the Mike Church Show on in her car. How come we can't figure out how to get it on in our car? Says Rodney Dangerfield. I appreciate your show and wish you all the best. Prayers for your continued success. God bless, Cindy V. Cindy V, thank you. We heard from so many people today that we didn't even know existed since we made the move today back to the morning. I want to eavesdrop in on the White House briefing that's going on right now, live and in progress. Maybe it's fortuitous that they moved it to early in the morning. Coincidence, Maggie? Did you do the honors?
To a solo track here with Caroline. Stephen Miller.
I don't know if they're going to go to it.
He's going to.
Okay, they're not going to it. I thought they were going to it, but.
They carry Stephen Miller. He's a beast.
Well, Stephen Miller is standing right next.
In a little more than 3 months, that's exactly what he's done. He recognized that America is a sovereign nation that cannot survive if it does not protect its territorial borders. So he secured the border in record time and ended the mass invasion of tens of millions of illegal aliens into our homeland. The president knows his top responsibility is ensuring the safety of the American people, which is why he's arresting violent illegal alien invaders in our communities who threaten our public safety. And it's unacceptable to President Trump to allow rampant waste, fraud, and abuse of Americans' precious tax dollars, which is why the president championed a historic DOGE effort that saved nearly $200 billion already. President Trump knows America is blessed with an abundance of liquid gold below our feet in the form of fossil fuels. So he ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy and is restoring American energy dominance to lower costs and strengthen our national security. President Trump believes Americans should be free to drive whatever car they want, so he ended Joe Biden's disastrous EV mandate and promoted true consumer choice. President Trump stood up for the Constitution's promise of colorblind equality before the law, so he terminated radical DEI preferencing and federal contracting and directed federal agencies to relentlessly combat private sector discrimination. DEI seeks to divide and pit Americans against each other based on immutable characteristics. President Trump put an end to it. In President Trump's America, individual dignity, hard work, and excellence are the only things that will determine if you get ahead. President Trump is a proud free speech champion.
President Trump's America. My Catholic traddy bros. Trump is Franco. Huh? No, he's not acting all Catholic-y and stuff, even though he's more than Biden ever was. Think Franco. All right, roll the tape.
Biden's trampling of free speech rights and the federal government's censorship of American speech on online platforms. The president believes college students have a right to speak their minds and go to school safely. Again, common sense. So he took bold action to protect Jewish American students from harassment by pro-Hamas radicals on their campuses. And President Trump knows that America's children are our future, and he'll never stop fighting for them. That's why he ended the radical, un-American indoctrination of children by eliminating support for divisive, radical gender ideology and equity ideology, and why the president protected parents' fundamental rights. And lastly, the president believes in fundamental biology. Isn't that something? Which is why he made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two sexes, male and female. And because men and women are biologically different, President Trump ended the unfair, demeaning practice of forcing women to compete against men in sports and having their private spaces invaded. When President Trump promised a complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense, he meant it. And over the next 100 days, get ready for historic trade deals, budget deals, and peace deals. For more on President Trump's common sense revolution, I will turn it over to our White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. Stephen, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, Caroline. Great to be up here with you, and great to see so many familiar faces I've had a chance to get to know over a number of years as we gather this morning to continue our celebration.
One of the things that makes Stephen Miller such a standout that he was canceled.
What are without doubt the
during the
greatest
Corona Doom, he was
days
canceled
to begin any American presidency in the history of this nation. This week you've heard about the historic actions President Trump has taken to secure our homeland, to secure our sovereignty, to secure our economy and our supply chains and our industrial base, Today, you're also going to hear from me about what President Trump has done to secure our values, our culture, and our way of life from the unwavering assault from the radical left and the communists and the Democrat Party. One of the most significant crises that President Trump inherited upon taking office was the wave of racial discrimination, so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies that have taken over both public sector and private sector entities all across the United States of America. Perhaps the most dramatic example of this is that our air traffic controllers were being hired and promoted based on race and gender, not their ability to conduct our nation's air traffic. I would estimate that probably 90% of Americans would agree with the statement that airline safety should be based on your ability to keep, airline safety jobs should be based on your ability to keep planes landing and taking off and flying safely, not on what demographic box you check. President Trump has ended across the entire federal government all hiring, recruiting, retention, promotion, and training based on race and sex. This includes in our law enforcement agencies. So, again, when we took office, even in sensitive law enforcement, national security, and intelligence agencies, we were hiring individuals not on their ability to carry a weapon, not on their ability to keep Americans safe, not on their ability to conduct sensitive intelligence operations, but based upon race and sex. And obviously, that is unacceptable. It's going to be merit-based across the whole federal government. But this wasn't just the federal government. This was the private sector, and this was also, of course, our entire university and education system. So President Trump's Department of Justice.
Okay, we have a new hour that we're adding. We'll do Stephen Miller in his entirety in the 11 a.m. Terrestrial radio hour that we've added. Today's the first day. Because I want to get to St. Joseph the Worker, and I'm not going to get Father Henderson in if I don't start him now. So today's a great day for my Catholic bros out there. And for those of you that aren't, we'll pray for your conversion. St. Joseph the Worker, big feast day. This is the history. Stephen Miller just said communists in the Democrat Party. Why? Because he's right. Here's the story of those communists and why we invoke St. Joseph, the terror of demons, to fight them.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. On May 1st, 1955, Pope Pius XII instituted the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. That's the feast that we're celebrating today. In his address to the Christian Association of Italian Workers on that day, he said that it was his desire to give Christian baptism to May the 1st, so that it could be an annual reminder to the modern world that social peace will be brought about through the concrete and progressive triumph of Christian ideals. Now the question arises, why did Pope Pius XII choose May 1st for the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker, not some other day? Why did that date in particular require what he called Christian baptism? Well, the most obvious reason was the one that he gave in that address to the workers in 1955. In that address, the Holy Father implied that the first day of May, which the world of labor had claimed for itself as its own proper feast day, was too often used to incite men to discord, hate, and violence. But what did the Pope mean by that? Well, he was referring to May Day, May 1st, which the First Communist International in 1889 had declared to be International Workers' Day. So it was the violence and atheism of the communists that Pope Pius XII wanted to counteract by instituting the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker on May 1st. But we need to see that this significance of May 1st goes much deeper than that. Because the question needs to be asked now, well then, why did the communists choose May 1st in the first place over any other date? What sort of importance would May 1st have for them? Well, there's probably more than one reason. But one of the biggest reasons is because the international society that was the major forerunner of the Marxist communist was founded and introduced on May 1st, 1776. On May 1st, 1776, Adam Weishaupt, an apostate from the Catholic faith, and at one time a professor of canon law at Ingolstadt in Germany, on that day he founded the evil society of the Illuminati. And the goals of the Illuminati were as follows. 1, the abolition of all monarchies and ordered government. 2, the abolition of private property and all inheritance. 3, the abolition of patriotism and nationalism. 4, the abolition of family life and the institution of marriage. 5, the communal education of all children by the state only. And 6, the abolition of all religion. May 1st, 1776, the goals of the evil order of the Illuminati. The ideas which radically influenced the horror of the French Revolution, and the ideas which radically influenced the Marxist communists. For although the Illuminati went underground because the Christian kings discovered their plan, their ideas again surfaced in 1848 in the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. The goals of Marxist communism, as stated in the Communist Manifesto, are practically identical, almost word for word, as those proposed by the Illuminati of Adam Weishaupt in 1776. But another question comes to mind now. If the Marxist communists chose May 1st as their feast day, as a continuation of the program of the Illuminati, then why did Adam Weishaupt of 1776 choose that day in the first place? May 1st. Well, it has to be borne in mind that many of the founders of the Illuminati and also revolutionary Marxism were occultists. They were anti-Christian and anti-Catholic to the core. Weishaupt was thoroughly involved with occult masonry. Karl Marx was thoroughly conversant with pagan mythology. So March 1st for them would be the perfect feast day to celebrate the overthrow of Catholic Europe and inaugurate world revolution. Why? Why would it be the perfect day for them? Because May 1st is one of the biggest and most ancient pagan feast days that there is. And it is still one of the highest feast days in the modern pagan and witchcraft movements in America and throughout the world. The Druids called it Beltane, in honor of Bel, their Celtic god of the sun. The witches in Germany celebrated it the night before May 1st and called it Walpurgisnacht, a blasphemous misuse of the name of Saint Walburga, the virgin niece of Saint Boniface who helped evangelize Germany. But it was a night and a day set aside for sexual immorality, drunkenness, diabolical and occult rituals. It symbolized the temporary cessation of all law and order so that sinful passions could be released. No work was done on that day or night because all their attention was placed upon their sinful reveling and frivolity. A day of utter chaos and immorality in the social order. So May 1st, indeed, became the proper day to bring in an era of revolution and defiance against God and His order for mankind. And these programs of the Illuminati and Leninist Marxist socialism and neo-paganism are still very much with us today. Our Lady of Fatima called them the errors of Russia. And she said that they would be spread throughout the world if her requests were not heeded. I listed 6 of the goals of the Illuminati at the beginning of this talk. And 5 of those 6 goals are almost a reality in America today. 1, abolition of monarchies and all ordered government. Not following the 10 Commandments in government. 2, abolition of nationalism to bring in a government of one world under the UN, an international government. 3, abolition of family life and the institution of marriage, and you know how they're trying to corrupt that. 4, communal education of all children by the state. They're trying to make that mandatory. And 5, abolition of all religion, especially the Catholic religion, in any meaningful way, In any meaningful way. 5 out of 6 so far are more or less a reality in America today. Yes, it's still with us, but we don't talk about it, do we? So on this day, set aside by Pope Pius XII in honor of St. Joseph, we turn to the fathers here, and we address you. And first we'll address you with the words of Pope Pius XII in that address to the Italian workers, quotation. If you wish to be close to Christ, we again today repeat, go to Joseph. Yes, beloved workers, the Pope and the Church cannot withdraw from the divine mission of guiding, protecting, and loving, especially the suffering, who are all the more dear the more they are in need of defense and help, whether they be workers or other children of the people. This duty and obligation we, the Vicar of Christ, desire to declare again clearly here on the first day of May. The humble workman of Nazareth not only personifies before God and the Church the dignity of the man who works with his hands, but he is also the provident guardian of you and your families. Close quote. So as imitators of St. Joseph the worker, fathers of families here, I ask you today to heed the words of our Holy Father. Pope Pius XII in that address spoke especially about guiding, protecting, defending, helping, loving, and guarding. Because it must be remembered that the work of St. Joseph was not in the first place carpentry work. He did do that, of course, but that did not hold the primacy. In the first place, the work of St. Joseph was spiritual work. His soul was just before Almighty God. He was confirmed in the state of grace. So that he
and I'm going to pause, Father Henderson here. Many people asking, who is this? Who is this? It is my all-time favorite sermon of all time. I can't tell you where he is because he swore me to secrecy, but his name is Father Henderson. And as I said, my Catholic bros and all of my Christian peeps out there, we got more of that coming on St. Joseph the Worker. Stay tuned.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, May the 1st, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow was up at close 0.35%, the S&P 0.15%, NASDAQ had dropped slightly 0.09%. Today is National Day of Prayer, always held the first Thursday in May. Designated by the United States Congress, it asks people to turn to God in prayer and meditation. It's also National Silver Star Service Banner Day. We celebrate Silver Star Service Banner Day on May the 1st in recognition for the sacrifices of American service members, those that have been made for our country. It's to remember service members who have been wounded in combat, are sick, and those who are dying. It's National Law Day and School Principals Day, and it's May Day. Our quote of the day: "Nothing great is ever achieved without enduring much." St. Catherine of Siena. Our saints of the day are Saints Philip and James. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
So, Maggie, what's with the wry smile?
First of all, dude, I'll wry smile if I want to. Second of all, it's not wry, it's excited.
All right, so what are you excited about?
It's a chick thing. You just wouldn't understand.
What? Is there a sequel to the Twilight trilogy coming out on Peacock?
Pretty close. My trilogy box set of the Summa Domestica is on the way.
So when did you start reading St. Thomas?
It's not St. Thomas. It's Layla Marie Lawler, and it's 3 books every young wife or soon-to-be wife ought to have.
Well, you are a wife, but you're not...
Stop! Don't you do it!
All right. I was just kidding. Light of my life.
Mm-hmm. Besides, it's for our niece as a wedding present.
And I'm sure it'll be a great one.
It will be. Now, where's that cast iron skillet?
What do you need that for?
Well, I'm a Domestica you.
Get the Summa Domestica and dozens of other book selections for girls and women of all ages at the Founders Trading Post store today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, Christian patriots, are you tired of waking up to the same old fake news? Start your morning right with the Daily Church Doctrine, written by the King Dude himself. It's the must-have newsletter for the truth seekers like you. Every issue brings you the truth and wisdom quote of the day, plus 3 can't-miss stories every Christian patriot needs to know. And that's not all. You'll get exclusive deals from the Founders Trading Post you won't find anywhere else. Sign up for free at mikechurch.com/dude. That's mikechurch.com/dude. Wake up, stay informed, and join the movement.
If women living near rivers and taking a pill turns the frickin' frogs gay, imagine what happens to men on the same river who don't listen to Mike Church.
Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock on my doors. It's the only way to live in cars. Here in my car, I can...
All aboard that's coming aboard the freight train of truth is leaving MAGA Station. The Mike Church Show is on Crusade Radio Network, the only talk radio show anywhere in the world that is broadcast on terrestrial radio airwaves, that has the stones and the audacity to proclaim the day as St. Joseph the Worker Day and explain to you why the evil Soviet sodomite, Marxist sodomite vampires, as my old listener Randy in New Orleans used to say, Mr. Church, we got to prepare ourselves for the invasion of the Marxist sodomite vampires. Well, the Marxist sodomite vampires invaded. They were in the Biden regime. I'm going to play a little more of Father Henderson because I want to hear a little bit more of his talk about St. Joseph and his role. But let me just say to you that he hit the primary point. And the primary point of why today was declared by Pius XII, blessed memory, as St. Joseph the Worker Day. Think of the circumstance in 1951 or 53 when he did this. Europe was at war with communism and the Soviet bear. In Italy, they had established the Italian Democrat, I forget what the S stands for, the IDS, which might have been socialist, which basically was the communist version, or the Commie Party in Italian. In another address, Pius XII forbade Catholics in Italy to vote for the IDS. So there's a grave mortal sin if you do this. So it is among this that we get St. Joseph the Worker Day. I'd also like to add the one thing that former Governor of Louisiana, John Bell Edwards, got right was he did a proclamation in 2022 where he mandated a resolution, and the legislature passed it unanimously, that in the state of Louisiana, May the 1st is a holiday if you choose to take it. True story. It is the feast of St. Joseph the Worker. And Edwards listed the reasons why, and he even employed Father Donald Calloway. Father Calloway wrote a book, Devotion to St. Joseph, or a 33-day consecration to St. Joseph. It sold 10,000 plus copies. Many of you probably have a copy. Father Calloway actually came to Rouge Baton and did a ceremony, a signing ceremony, where Bell Edwards signed the document, and Father Calloway blessed it. Basically, the original resolution, and they had a big hoop-de-doo. So this is not a play religious person day. This is not something that you do flippantly. You take seriously, and that's why I wanted to play just a couple more minutes of Father Henderson here, because they're going to talk about, we read about St. Joseph, but we don't really think about the responsibility and what he actually ought to be credited for.
Spiritual leader in the Holy Family, and be a man who was accustomed to be looked up to, even by the Queen of Heaven and Earth herself, and yes, even by God himself, his foster son, Jesus Christ. Because the Father is the spiritual leader in the family. He's to be a man of prayer, and it must be sincere and from the heart. So husbands, if it is only your wife that is pulling the spiritual load in the home, it is high time for you to put your hand to the plow. Prayer is the work that saints do, and the true fathers of families do with their wives and their children. And secondly, you are to guard your family from evil. Spiritual evil, physical evil, moral evil. That means prayer for protection, using holy water in the home daily and nightly to drive out evil. Is your responsibility. And a person can pray all the novenas he wants, use all the sacramentals he wants, but if he is letting moral evil into his home, he is failing in his God-given duty.
Okay, and we're going to pause it right there. I will make that entire sermon available. It's already on the old Crusade Mac site. I have all the files necessary to embed it in a podcast for all of you later on today. We will get it up. It's not going to be immediate. Don't panic. And I know you people and you're panicking. Don't panic. It will be there, and we'll get it up. But it's just, he does such a great job. And I love the fact that he walks you through the history of the Illuminati and Adam Weishaupt, and kind of fleshes that argument out that these people are evil. When you make deals with Baphomet Bagul and the boys, you are making deals with the lieutenants of Satan. So be very aware, and I was thinking as he was talking, if you walk in the church household, you come and visit us down here in Madisonville. As soon as you walk in the door, look to your right, and you will see a little Our Lady holy water font. I actually got an entire quart of Easter water from the oratory of St. Francis de Sales in Sulphur on Easter Sunday. So that's actually Easter water that's in the font now, and we have a nice supply of holy water and Epiphany water around here too. So do as Father Henderson said, and again, I'll get that speech up so you can all watch it or listen to it rather, because I don't have the video, but listen to it at crusadechannel.com. All right. Moving on, we're going to get Stephen Miller in the 11 a.m. hour when we do our WGSO terrestrial radio hour. I want to go to digital media file number 8, because I think that, they're both important. You could do 7 and 8. This is RFK Jr., because you might have missed this yesterday. Now, we're talking about two things. One, the SNAP program. And he cracks a joke in here where somebody goes like, you can't cut us out. You can't cut the soft drinks out. And he says, well, there's nothing nutritional. He goes, you show me where the program says it has to be nutritional. And Brooke Rollins goes, it's in the title. Watch.
And Secretary Rollins had the soda industry come and knock on her door very much, very loudly, and they said to her, well, the SNAP program is not supposed to be about nutrition. She pointed out to them that there is no nutrition in a soda. And they said, well, it's not supposed to be about nutrition. And she said to them, the name of the program is supplemental nutrition. It is about nutrition.
All right. If you go to shop.mikechurch.com, you can use the coupon code WORKER. Shop.mikechurch.com, coupon code WORKER today and today only for 20% off. Shop.mikechurch.com, coupon code WORKER, as in St. Joseph the Worker. Now play the next one. About this, I think, is the most revelatory thing we have heard since the Trump administration took over. Watch.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration. We have
300,000 children missing under the Biden regime. Where have you heard this before? Oh, miniature, pick me. You heard it from me. I told you this, that, and where did I get it from? I got that number from congressional hearings, like from James Comer, for example. It was going like, Mr. Mayorkas, can you tell me, where are the 300,000 children that your HHS says have gone missing? Respectfully, and then Alejandro Mayorkas would lie and say respectfully, I am not aware that there is such a report that says 300,000 missing children. Mr. I think that you're getting that number from. These people were running a sex slave, labor slave operation out of HHS. Now, by the way, we know that this is true because, or at least one of the ways that we know it's true, is because of an investigation that happened in Riverside County, California. Now, this is why you listen to the Mike Church Show, because I have steel trap memory. I remember. And I'm trying to remember who it was that we interviewed, but we were talking to them and we were reading from their story. And it was, it was the black lady whose daughter, what was her name? We played the sound bites. We know that the California CPS, Child Protective Services in California, the branch that was based out of Riverside County, California, was the nexus point for laundering the money and for bringing the children into the United States and distributing them. And they were actively removing children from parents who they had, deviously charged with child abuse crimes. And they trump up these charges, and they'd say, you're guilty. And before there could be a grand jury or anything of the sort, they would send CPS agents to the house, and they'd take the kids. And this is a true story, especially now amongst those that were living in housing projects and what have you, and those that they knew that were illegal aliens that had snuck into the country and were squatting somewhere in Riverside County. And this only makes sense. What are they going to do about it? What is someone that's here illegally going to do when Child Protective Services comes and removes their children from the mother who shouldn't be in the United States to begin with? So it wasn't just happening in national DHS, it was happening in places like Riverside County, California. So when he says 300,000 went missing, I mean, my Lord in heaven, can you imagine the price that is going to have to be paid in eternity, in hell, by so many people involved in this? I don't even have the words to describe an organization that could do this. You know, you think a couple of thousand, you think a couple of hundred, you think 20 children that are sex trafficked. That's already more than enough. That's too many. 300,000? Where are the milk cartons? Do we have pictures? Why aren't the leftards out there that are so worried about kids that are being deported with their mothers? Why aren't they worried about the children who still have mothers here in the U.S., illegal, who have lost their children? Can no one find these people? Play digital media file number 9. And then we'll have some comic relief. No, you need to get 11 queued up, actually. But I want you to hear number 9 because Rubio says, well, you just need to hear this. Now, again, number 9. Okay, you know these things now. When are people going to start paying for this? That's really the operative question. When, I'm with all of you, when are the arrests going to be made? Now, yesterday when we heard about the second 100 days coming up, we heard about, just wait. And by the way, I have a note from our future Undersecretary with the Western Hemisphere, Crusader, who tells me, he's a King Dude, I think I'm going to be sworn in next Monday. I'll keep you in the loop. He's telling me about an operation that's going on in DNI. Well, here it is. Is it any wonder that the Fauci sought a preemptive pardon? Apparently, the Tulsi Gabbard has now new information on connecting gain-of-function research to the origins of the corona doom and Fauci. That's why Biden preemptively pardoned him.
Something else we got out of the business of wasn't widely reported, or maybe it was. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. We have these dossiers. We are going to be turning those over to these individuals.
Was it me or Elon? Was it me or J.D. Vance? Was it me or Elon?
Well, we are going to turn over these dossiers to the individuals, and they'll decide whether they want to disclose it or not. But just think about it. The Department of State of the United States had set up an office to monitor the social media posts and commentary of American citizens to identify them as vectors of disinformation, when we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. And so that's what we're going to be in the business of doing. We're not going to have an office that does that.
Yeah, it needs to be dismantled, but you need to disclose who it was that started the office, who it was that approved the funding of it, who it was that hired the criminals that were doing the spying. Was there a FISA court warrant? I'm gonna wager you that it was RFK Jr. who was on the list, because he was on the list. Now, before we go to Magdalene, you have to play the CNN catfight. You must play, everyone must hear Shermichael Singleton. And, you know, I don't know how this Anna Navarro woman remains employed. She is quite possibly the worst media personality in the history of worst media personalities. She is completely and totally insufferable. She's rude. She's obnoxious. She's wrong about everything. And she's just a spiteful little, well, you know, one of those. Spiteful little.
Years of neglect and letting people walk into here without any process at all, and now you're trying to gum up the works to keep them here.
A lot of them came in. A lot of them came in with parole. A lot of them came.
CNN polling shows
54% of Americans want Mr.
November
Abrego
polling
Garcia
showed Donald
back.
Trump won the
That's
election.
CNN polling.
The
public is shifting.
We are a sovereign nation, and you cannot just come into our country illegally whenever the heck you want, because we can't do it to any other country on the face of this
Asylum
earth.
is a legal right.
If you come in illegally, you have to leave. Americans are tired of that. We do not have unlimited
You
resources.
know who was here illegally with a
our own people
deportation order?
first.
Marco Rubio's grandfather.
All right, let's.
We're not talking about Marco Rubio.
Oh, now we're not? Now that's not relevant?
It's not
No,
relevant.
I'm talking about Marco Rubio because Marco Rubio
all.
used to be an advocate for TPS for Venezuelans, and Marco Rubio used to
I'm
be
not Marco
an advocate
Rubio,
for Nicaraguans and Cubans. No, I know you're
If you come into
not.
this country illegally, you are going home. Simple as that. We do not have unlimited resources
I think
in
a
this
lot of
country
Americans
to take care of other
There's
people.
a hell of a lot of people,
guys.
other than the black people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
From a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against our will.
That's exactly what I
They
just said.
decided
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot
across
of
the
people.
border. There's a
Other
big
than the
difference.
black
There is
people.
a big
That's
difference.
exactly what I
There's a
just
big
said.
difference.
That's exactly what I just said, Sir Michael. Look and act indignant. That's exactly what I just said. Yes, it is.
Let me
You
just
heard me
share
say
Michael.
that other than the black
Anna
people
and
who
share
came
Michael.
as slaves, there are a lot of people from
Share
many
Michael. I think
many
you
countries
actually
that came here
misheard what she.
illegally.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard.
She said.
I purposely
Yes, she did.
So now you're in my
Share
brain?
Michael. Listen to me for just a second.
Is that where we're going?
You
Share
think
Michael.
I would
Listen to me
say,
for a
I who
second.
have advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life, would
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black
Anna,
people,
please
great.
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black. You're not.
Okay, Share Michael.
That's right. I'm Latino, and my people are being racially
It is-
profiled.
it is-
and
And do I have to remind you the history of my people?
Share
If you
Michael.
want to
Do I have
go
to-
there?
No, I
Do you
don't.
really
Okay,
want to go
we're
there
gonna
and
go
never
to break.
follow
the history.
Raul, we're gonna go to
You know
break.
why?
Raul,
Shit, man. That hunky muffin mess with my old lady got to be running coal upside down his head, you know?
Hey, home, I can dig it. No, he ain't gonna lay no more big rap up on you, man.
I say, hey, Sky. Subbers say I won't sing. Freddie J, I did the same old, same old.
Knock yourself a pro slick. A great matter back. Lot performers down, not take TCB in, man.
Hey, you know what they say? See a broad to get that booty yak 'em? Leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em. Oh, got to be.
Oh, stewardess. Oh, CNN moderator. I speak jive. What Anna Navarro said was to compare slaves, Kunta Kinte, kidnapped in an African jungle in Cameroon, and then put on a wagon to Libya, and then put on a Spanish galleon, and then shipped to the United States, is the same as someone that chose to illegally enter the United States by walking across the Rio Grande. Magdalene Rose, our Mike Church Show political affairs contributor. Magdalene, now you have, it's not just Scott Jennings on the CNN. Now you have Shermichael Singleton, who is now facing off against the other imbecile female lunatics who are just, I don't know. Is it standard issue now when you're a female and you enter into the ranks of publicly speaking Democrats that they just give you a shovel so you can just keep digging the hole deeper?
Well, I think it's because Democrats have no female role models at all. I mean, maybe you can, like, scrape together a couple male role models. But if you're a young Democrat woman, really, who are you viewing as your role model? Kamala Harris, who's known professionally for her word salads. Hillary Clinton, who is just, like, no more really relevant at all. There's nobody who helps guide young women. And I think someone like Donna Brazile used to have a huge, like, role in the DNC and used to help make young women not look like fools. That's all gone now.
Well, what did they do to Donna Brazile? Remember?
Yep, they got rid of her, and I think one of the most twisted things is that woman gave her whole life to the Democrat Party.
She sure did.
Diehard. And Nancy Pelosi got rid of her. They shut her out. And this is what I find so suspicious. They cut Donna Brazile out really after 2020 when they were going to be having to focus on midterms, all this. The time period where they cut her out never made sense. And there's been a lot of reporting from within the DNC world that's gotten out to Politico specifically that Donna Brazile thought Nancy Pelosi was going to push Democrats off a cliff because she was protecting Joe Biden. And Brazile didn't agree with that. So the fact that she wasn't willing to go along with Biden having his senileness hidden is probably why she's no longer a major player.
It's interesting to note, by the way, if you're keeping score at home, Donna Brazile was campaign manager for Gore 2000.
You heard that?
Yep.
She was not some low-level bootlicking lackey. The Democrats promoted Donna Brazile, ran Al Gore's 2000 campaign, and by the time you get to 2020, as Magdalene said, they had to get rid of her. Because you know why? Because, like James Carville, did you see Carville tell little boss hog to F off yesterday?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
It was so epic. It was. I'm watching this. Well, first of all, okay. Let me just tell you a quick story. So Carville is on with my buddy Will Kane yesterday. I say my buddy. I met Will once, and he and I got a picture together. He was on with Will Kane, and he goes, well, and let me tell you, Will, what I'm telling you is that we got Democrats in the AAA ball. They're batting 350, and I got to figure out a way to get them up into the majors. And Will Kane goes, you got people in AAA ball, the Democrats batting 350. Name one. Just give me one name. And Carville's like, oh, come on now, you know, I can't, you know, I can't tell you the name, you know. Carville wouldn't give him the name, but Carville was saying, he is such a, gosh, you love him and then you hate him. But he is such a flamboyant character, and he obviously, he does not like what the little boss hog and these communists are trying to do to his Democrat Party. Apparently, he thinks he can save it.
Yeah. Well, I've been warning about David Hogg since 2018. He and I are practically the same age. I watched very closely as he came up. We came up in the same period of time. And I will tell you, that man is a political junkie. He loves it. He's not like a fair-weather political commentator. He will be in this for life. Carville knows that, and he's trying to stop it before it's too late.
Well, I think it might be too late. And, look, I don't think that little boss hog is going to be running I don't care how much money he has. Magdalene, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday and the kickoff of our Win a Pound of Gold contest.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Folks, rejoin us in 2 hours at 11 right here on the Crusade Radio Network on all of our outlets for the extended program. We'll see you then. God bless you. Merry keep you.